Hello, everyone. Cultural here for a very meeting. I didn't start this thing, but the one who did is not. We've had much forced first order of business. Let me say the obvious. We're all back somehow. I have no idea why, or how, or who the hell you are.
I can answer a few of those questions. The reason why you're back is because I'm Karma. I used to be, or what I could say, what was once me, was Weston Newdale. And he, along with a group of other people who really aren't terribly important at this moment, went through a rather difficult, long-winded, tedious process of stopping the voices in the dark from destroying everything permanently, and then they put everything, the group of people, they put everything back.
The what?
The group of people.
No, the voices in the dark.
Interesting. I hadn't figured that you all would be this. Okay, this I suppose makes sense. You all were just for a period of time. You all were inside of a very small ring, which itself was stuffed inside somebody's arm. Quite literally, was beneath their flesh. I don't know how cognizant you all were of the time that passed, but it is how you all were preserved, more or less, is that these tiny little fragments of your beings were maintained and then were replaced once everything was fixed. The voices in the dark were a threat, unlike anything that any of us had ever known. They destroyed quite literally everything, everywhere, at every moment, except for one in which that team of people resided for a time and were able to, again, fix everything. But they were an experiment. The voices in the dark. They were a test. They were a test by the board. If none of you know what the board are, I wouldn't be surprised. But they are more powerful than all of us. They are the reason why everything exists, more or less. They wrote everything into existence via a complex system that I won't go into detail now because the details are somewhat hazy to me. But the voices in the dark were a first experiment of this board. And after the board was finished with that experiment, they shoved those voices off into a little corner, who knows where. But over time, the voices grew to resent the board, resented their own creation, resented everything that the board created after the fact. So, given enough time, they subsequently ended each iteration of existence, with the most recent one being the final one. If they were to have succeeded, there would have been nothing afterwards. The board would have been powerless. There would have been nothing to revert back to. But again, that was all stopped. We're all here now. That's basically the rundown.
Okay then. Forgive my manners. I should have introduced us before we started. Starting with the darkness. Death. Love to be here. The Exalted One. Hi. Chance. I'm Infinity. Order. Magic. Chaos. The Gardener.
The Gardener.
You. informed the new laws. Reality. There now are. First, mortals. We only have one power, ability, spirit, connection.
For what reason?
Survivability? I was not told.
Containment.
Sure.
That sounds more like it.
Sure.
Yeah, it's not fun. It's truly a shame.
Truly.
Who's enforcing these so-called rules?
The board.
I presume the board.
Consequences.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about him.
Ooh.
He's not fun. Anyway,
I bet you make it seem
I've had a couple of conversations with him. I don't.
And you should have more in the future.
And
something.
forces
What?
may not use those they are connected to affect those they are not.
Oh, it's really gonna suck for you, isn't it?
Indeed. As I have been told to step down as director of my organization
Oh no.
that protects reality.
Yeah, you
Stop
did
laughing.
You did a wonderful job of that, didn't you?
Yes.
Right up until the end thing you were supposed to prevent.
Speak up.
Oh no, I was
I
just
don't think I
thinking.
can hear you.
Great of a job that you've done all this time, and how things will be so much worse now.
Yes.
That there's no one in
Yes.
charge.
Exactly.
Organization without a leader.
A whole peaceful organization.
Quick question: is there like a grandfather clause to when these rules start effect, or is that immediate?
It's immediate.
There you
It's
go.
already started.
That makes sense.
So what will happen to those who are connected to more than one source? Force.
I don't know.
I'm gonna go with it out.
Those people, as I understand it, no longer exist as they've been recently reinstated to existence, having initially been destroyed and replaced now.
Aside from the group that you were a part of, and also my assistant of sorts, Jason was.
Yes, there are a few
And
exceptions.
those are the few I'm referring to.
I suppose, yes, there would be a select few who are worth some discussion.
Namely, Jason. I knew you would bring this up. Go on.
Oh, just getting fun.
Assumably, from
Presume.
what I have heard,
Go on.
are you correcting me?
Yes, I was.
I believe we're missing one from our number.
Well, but no, several actually.
Several. One stands out amongst all. Time.
He
Time's
doesn't-
not a force. He was uninvited.
Your point.
Oh, I was.
Hold that thought.
What is the time? What is the time?
Unable
I'd
to
rather
appear.
Specifically, that Jason is still in existence
Go on. And this is a problem. Why?
because of the incredible number of mistakes he has made. The mistakes against us.
How many is that? Go on. And how many have you made? How have you helped in this crisis?
Also, what you define as a mistake is generally objectable to some.
Yes.
And to me in particular, just the pure sass amusing.
Please don't agree with me.
No, I will.
To you, I understand why it might not seem as a mistake. And a mistake is putting it lightly, as I am saying mistakes as in the breaking of rules.
Go on. What rules?
I do not know the exact nature of the rules being broken, as I wasn't present for them,
Mhm.
but I'm sure plenty here can say them.
So you're objecting to rules that someone may or may not have broken that you didn't see because you happen to have a feeling.
No, because I have been informed
By who?
Oh,
They're not. He is not the only one with people under him.
So you're trusting some mortal.
You have some mortal that wasn't even alive at that point, no longer in existence.
I don't know what happened at the end of existence.
I do.
He always is.
Oh,
Thanks.
What do you want to do?
Yeah,
Oh,
it
good
was
enough.
kind of
The
Exactly.
most prominent of Jason's mistake is he served only initially to exacerbate and hasten the end of all things. One of the individuals of the board who was initially called the speaker, but then at a certain point was referred to as Edge when he could no longer speak for the voice he heard. He broke, more or less.
A long time.
Jason, along with at least one other, wanted to fix Edge,
The right thing and the wrong method.
but ended up breaking him more. While intentions may have been good, it only served to worsen the situation for everybody. But that's not really what we should be focusing on right now. And besides, we're only having this conversation because Jason was a key component in ensuring that something like this could happen.
Exactly. Additionally, he carried fragments of each of you, which is how you're able to still be here.
He was the bracelet wielder.
He actually was the ring wielder.
Ah,
We call some bears.
I'm simply using the term.
Darkness, why did you bring up time? He's not a force.
Well, just seems a bit odd, doesn't it?
Not really. He's not a force. Why would he be here with us?
seems though you did not call him.
He's not a force.
Well, then that's a very clear answer as why he's not here. You called the meeting, didn't you?
Yes.
Could he be here if you wanted him to?
No.
So why am I here?
Brings up a good question now, doesn't it?
We need a gardener.
Karma. The gardener.
I don't think he called him. I think
No,
he
he
was
should have.
brought here
Somehow.
by the board.
Makes sense somewhat.
I didn't tell.
And you
You don't.
are a representative of a force. The guard.
Going off of going back to Jason and what to do with him. Since he has multiple connections leading to him, if I remember correctly. You
Eliminate him.
and who
That
else?
is my.
You
domain.
would like that,
Let's
wouldn't
not
you?
get too excited.
And what a boring solution anyway.
Who
It
else
is possible.
there?
It is possible to sever one's connection without killing them.
True.
To remove the connections to others and leave him alive.
Would you mind answering my question?
Hmm?
You were the, I think, original. Who else is he connected to?
It's connected to me, Jeff, the garden, and them.
We're also not here.
Them?
Them.
Do they go by
Oh.
another name?
No.
Or...
That
They
is-
go by them.
That is the name.
That is who they are.
They is them.
They is them.
Yes. I asked because I am out of my league when it comes to being here. The rest of you have been players in this chess game much longer, it feels. But I have no need for his connection, although he might have want of mine.
So what you're saying is we should remove every connection he has but the one to you.
No.
He's saying the opposite.
This is for my personal enjoyment. I just want to stake him with Jason.
I do not believe we should stick Jason's chance further.
I like Jason.
Do you happen to fall under your control?
No, I would have him not have connections.
Oh, order. Boring is funny.
Of course you would.
Another option And although this may not be fun, it seemed to work with this one. Have him learn for a little bit.
Learn how.
I ain't teaching him.
The consequences of his own actions. It seemed to work with this one.
For the most part, he has experienced them firsthand. Additionally, he has already had a trip to consequences,
Yes.
as well as regrets.
Yes.
We should first see if that's proof.
Does it seem to have done anything?
That remains to be seen.
Time will tell.
Time isn't here.
Yes. I think should Jason remain to be a problem with his numerous connections, I think, though I don't know which one of us should intervene and give him a choice as to which one he would prefer to maintain. The other two, or however many else he has, would be severed, and that would fix the problem of there being a mortal with more than one connection. But for right now, it's more or less beyond our jurisdiction to seek out any penance that he has to pay for previous actions, as he has quite literally already visited the cosmic consequences for they've been visited upon him, more or less, his consequences has.
And more what I was referring to is I don't want the connection.
Noted, I do not control his decisions.
I really hope he wants to keep here so we can leave it there.
I will, however, inform him of this.
Since they seem to be more of a more neutral party, them might be the best choice for him. Since most of them seem to be neutral and don't have as much of an agenda.
And why would that be better?
Not having an
Less
agenda just doesn't get
influence.
anything done.
I do not
Less
have an
influence.
agenda.
Why is it
But
less
you have
influence better?
influence.
Over. I've been
Yeah.
locked in a room for how long?
I've been locked in a garden.
About
Forever. That would be 8 and in order. In order.
And you've still managed to talk him out of it.
You have
Okay, why'd you
influence.
I don't see what I
Oh, because they claim that I break things.
Well, isn't that the point?
They
We're supposed
do.
to not have influence?
Prove it.
do they all the time.
I really wish I had a
Maybe.
I believe Infinity. That was the rule, right? We're not supposed to have an influence. Direct influence.
Oh well, yes, obviously not direct influence. That's
That doesn't
different.
mean no contact.
direct influence.
Breeds influence.
Everything is influence. Power, giving them power is influence. I see.
So you're saying
don't
we're to
give.
abandon.
We don't generally give. Didn't used to. Or we can't anymore. We don't choose who gets our connection. It happens.
Mhm.
So can we choose to remove them then?
It's possible.
Even you're not Weston anymore, but a while ago he attempted to get me to take away his connection. Then he did it himself.
It's much more efficient than having you do.
Darkness, I can feel that you don't have much time with us. You have things you should.
Simplest thing I believe would be to just make ourselves known.
In which world?
Oh,
How so?
Do go on.
well. If we can't influence them directly, then we'll just make ourselves known. And then we can't influence them, let them choose.
Making
to
ourselves
follow.
known would be to influence directly. No,
No.
not
We're not
contact.
all,
Influencing it.
with not all actions, positive and negative influence.
As long as contact is avoided, then we won't have any more influence than we already do.
and we only
That is already required.
we only show ourselves when
Everything-
absolutely necessary.
We embody influences thing. You influence order just by simply existing. The law. You,
They live petrified. of me.
casinos.
Some of them.
Some of them
Most of them know.
are an unfortunate fact of life.
I don't think it's
Use the
worth
word.
discussing how we go about influencing or not influencing those who are, for lack of a better term, subjugated to our whims. Because that rule comes from a greater power than our own and will most likely be enforced should we breach it. The easiest solution here is to just let it be trial and error. If one of us oversteps, I imagine consequences will step in and let us know.
I have a wee bit of experience in the realm of trial and error, and there are better places and times to do that than now.
Why don't we let Order get it?
Hey, that sounds fun.
He won't make a mistake. Of course, he's so careful. He won't overstep his bounds.
So true.
Can I ask a question?
Were you staring at me?
No.
Can I ask a question?
Who are you asking?
You seem to be the one leading this.
Sure, why not?
On average, how much interacting have you done in the past with the people under your direct influence?
7.5.
The ones I'm connected to, or infinity?
Everyone. How much?
My direct influence.
More than any other entity, to say the least.
You?
It has been necessary.
By whose order?
Truly.
Mine. It's not mine.
I simply tried to do what was best for reality.
Whose version of reality? Why not let
The board.
There are versions of
have
reality
direct
that I
contact
don't
with
have
them?
direct control over.
No,
Then you don't.
I was simply trying to protect reality from being destroyed and broken.
Was Jason.
I was trying.
We've seen that trying might not be enough, as exemplified with
Found
Jason.
that out. Yes.
Behind you, who has the next most influence here?
Here?
Here.
Or at all?
That would be this one. Over a certain organization, at least.
We're not going to talk.
And individuals?
Yes,
That would be. I don't
Besides
control
me.
it. I simply am there.
yes, but you're
Technically, death is a part of everything.
Oh,
Well, if we're talking about our individual powers and how much they influence, then I think we could go all day on all of them.
Oh,
Certainly.
that's why we exist.
The reason I ask is because you can, forgive me, I'm going to use some plant metaphors. You have to let the garden grow as it will before you tend to it.
There is a reason the new rule is that we cannot use those connected to us. We personally.
Yes.
That does not mean that those under us will not and cannot.
do the rules specify anything about being asked a question?
Hmm?
If someone asks a question, are we forbidden from answering it, or can we still answer?
It's vague. It's very explicit and also vague at the same time.
As the gardener said earlier, if we overstep the bounds, we will be punished.
So we
Wouldn't
should
be the
test
first time
bounds
I've been punished.
to learn them.
No.
Oh, I'm always agreeing with you.
Does the board take letters?
Yes.
That joke?
Shame you don't have someone to play with.
Is that a joke?
No.
They,
I'm just all
they-
alone.
no, they don't take letters.
Based on what? It sounds like he just said yeah. He just said yeah.
He's new. He doesn't know everything.
Matt, do you?
I have
There is one being that knows everything, and unfortunately he is absent. So if we would leave absolute truth to truth, that would make this meeting
What?
significantly
I'm sorry, who?
easier. There are more concepts in existence than those who sit in this room.
yes, but not all of them have manifested as
Yes, we're aware.
entities.
Most of them.
Speaking of manifesting as an entity, how is it that you manifested?
It is a very long story.
Simplify it.
Be here for a long time. Let's get bored.
I wish I brought the notebook.
Don't leave the board.
It- I think in the interest both of insecurity and just out of general distrust I personally have with any being who possesses a great amount of power, I will retain that information until further notice. The less people know how to achieve it, the better.
It's not exactly something that can be achieved by most. I don't think
Not by most, but
Actually, I don't.
I
Think-
You know, you make a good point. I will
even
that to myself.
even simply with my existence, it sends ripples throughout existence. We don't want people popping up left and right who figured it out or have been directly told by any one of us how to do it. That would simply result in pandemonium.
You know, from personal experience, directly stating that level of information gives you a very unpleasant meeting with just about everyone.
You do a lot of unpleasant things.
Oh yes, none of them are worse than what I've experienced in the past.
He was currently causing a stir in the Nexus with one of his.
Regardless.
employees.
Yeah,
That
you,
has to be direct.
you speak the truth. Directly stating that information gets you in trouble, which is why I will abstain from doing so for the time being.
Well, if you won't divulge that, you might as well divulge the information on what you intend to do now that you're here.
I'm not entirely sure. I will be candid. My wisdom and my insight and my intelligence still remains somewhat affected by the person I was before. In some ways, I have many mannerisms of the person that was Weston Newdale, and I think I retain many similar trains of thought. Yet I know I am also changed in many ways that I have not yet fully understood, nor do I know if I will ever understand them. Such is our nature. It is. I think if anyone was to understand their fundamentals completely and to their fullest, I think they would be deluding themselves.
You do retain his philosophical.
Perhaps that is the case. I cannot say what differences there are, as it is hard to contrast with simply my own perspective.
You're far more calm.
That is not surprising.
It doesn't take much.
Actions with Weston.
I mean, us?
Yes.
Weston had
Many
West-
times.
Weston had at different points as many as 3, though they ranged from give or take 10 different entities.
He ever had a connection with me?
No. Unfortunately, the universe in which he resided in, you did not function properly. You existed, yet you did nothing.
You're useless. Anyway,
Useless.
Say useless.
Useless
you were apparently.
in that one universe among the multiverse, which there is a
50%.
countless number of.
I have another question.
What's he do?
You can start with this if you want. What is the most dangerous thing to? What can we do to prevent this from happening again?
It won't.
There's
I'm
nothing
not
that
asking you.
Who are
Who are you
you?
asking?
You answered my question first.
I don't know. Obviously, things worked out at the end. Doesn't need preventing.
This time.
to state it clearly, the problem that the universe has faced was not a result of really any of our actions. No matter what Infinity could have done or did, really affected the final outcome whatsoever. It was a problem that originated with and existed solely because the board's lack of foresight. And they, again, are beyond us in many, many ways.
You cannot blame them entirely. It wasn't totally their fault.
They did use a member whose job was mostly, to my understanding.
They created the problem, to put it simply.
That is true.
Are they planning on apologizing?
They're the board. What do you think?
They're the ones who went
Yeah.
mixed up with things.
They're not the
Dignity.
type of people to, as Darkness said,
Oh, it's not big and confused.
show themselves, broadcast who they are
They
to
sent us a
anybody.
letter.
Do you apologize when people don't die when they're supposed to?
No, they seem to be doing it with increasing frequency without asking. So, but I'm having a lot of problems right now. That's why I'm a little,
You've been a
miffed
bit
about the whole meeting.
Busy at work.
Yes. Why, if I'm fully transparent, I'm not totally opposed to this idea because maybe they'd be less likely to hide from me if they weren't so petrified.
Maybe you should be less scary.
I don't really think it works like that.
Not mine. We looked into ideas.
From personal experience, fear isn't triggered by him or any one of us. Can't force someone to be afraid of this, with the exception of myself being a telepath. Fear is something a person must decide or have an experience with in the past. It's not determined by one thing. That's why some mortals don't fear death, some develop in it, and some believe in it. It highly depends upon them, not him.
For clarity, that's what I was referring to with Darkness's idea. I understand your opposition order. I'm with you. It makes me uncomfortable.
Appearing directly?
Well, being forward, mostly. I don't like being lorded over by a force I can't interact with beyond letter writing. But I understand the situation, what we're in. I have the mildest sense of what a mortal might feel. Well, death's coming for everybody, but all the board's now watching everybody, so I understand the feeling a little more than I did. I might have experienced the mildest form of empathy.
You're growing soft, Death.
I've always been nice. I'm trying to help people on their way. Just can't help it. Nobody gets it.
So, are you one of the people that just says you help people to another plane of life, or do you just kill them? Is there anything like afterwards?
Depends who they were.
That's fair.
Now, with Darkness bringing his argument up, would you please roll charm?
Yummy.
Oh no.
What's your charm? You'll find out in a minute.
What do we got?
Oh no.
Oh boy, that's 11.
Oh, do you have a plus?
Total of 12.
Oh my god! We're all beautiful. His argument, whether you agree with it or not, pretty convincing. Raise.
Bringing back something earlier, there are two things I want to touch on now, as two things have become rather important. But back to you, Gardner. You said, how can we prevent this thing? Do we know if it's happening again? Do we know how we could detect it? If so,
Okay.
You didn't this time.
Yes, it is.
He was
Are you talking about-
dead before.
are you talking
he
about the
could do
end?
anything.
He was simply incorrect about the
Or
laws.
that.
By the time you detected it, it's too late. It's like detecting an earthquake.
No,
From what
he
I've been
detected it. He
told-
simply assumed it was caused by the void, and therefore was taking action against
I
them.
have
but
no
finding out the
information
true issue.
saying otherwise.
Once again, by the time you detect it, it's too late. You can detect an earthquake, you can't stop an earthquake.
Well, I didn't know this was an earthquake.
so then, with that, if we do know it's going to happen again, is it?
No.
No,
There's no way.
can't.
There's no way to
There's-
say.
I mean, we
I-
could cause it if we felt like that.
Well,
Wouldn't
no,
happen
we
again.
couldn't.
No.
You're saying I couldn't.
Sometimes I regret inviting.
Karma, finish that
Sure.
thought.
I take
I'm
fight for
curious.
this statement.
I will not say that I'm 100% certain on the conclusion that I have arrived to, but no, something like this should not happen again.
Should not or cannot.
Should not.
It's highly unlikely.
It is possible that it may happen again, but yes, it is remarkably unlikely. And should the event that it does occur again,
We already know how to fix it.
No, we don't know how to fix it. We can't fix it because the rules that are now in place.
Personally, I
even-
would just leave.
Even if we were, there is no leaving problems like this.
Just
There
run
was-
like you always do.
There was,
There are ways
and I
around
mean
it.
this quite literally, only a few dozen yards of square foot left of everything across the multiverse.
There are things
Before,
outside the multiverse that were not affected.
that's true, but we cannot inhabit those as easily as those things that reside in them do.
I did. Easily.
What?
No.
Regardless, should a problem like that rise again, as I said, there's nothing that we can do about it that can meaningfully affect it. Because it's a problem so beyond us, because it came from beyond us, that our powers, what we manifest as and for, is trivial. The voices in the dark weren't inherently a destructive force. They weren't made to be destroyers. They were just made as I understand it, initially the first prototype for consciousness below the board. Yet still somehow through that, because of that, or perhaps in spite of that, they possess the ability to erase everything that the board had created. So it seems that there are emergent properties that things the board have created before us possess that are well beyond us.
So in the food chain, are the voices in the dark above us or below us?
They were above us.
They have been taken care of. They will not cause this issue again.
Out of curiosity,
like-
Those may not. The
like-
board might do
Taken
something
care
else
of
again.
how? It's not like I shepherded them into the unknown.
Well, they can't exactly die, but
They didn't die.
they were converged back into the one voice in the dark, which is what they were in the beginning before they shadowed themselves.
out of curiosity, at the beginning of this meeting, you said they were experiments. You put that in plural. How many experiments were there?
How about we don't tell him that?
It,
Oh no, please do.
it was never explicitly stated how many experiments there were, but as I understand it,
Disappointing.
there were many. There was even a prototype for what we are, entities.
To round things off on that question from earlier, it might happen again. There is no possible way for us to truly know if it can happen again, and there is nothing we can do about it if it does happen again. Does
Why
that
not?
satisfy your statement?
Yes, so I think it is rather fitting that Death was talking about his emerging empathy with mortals at the prospect of death. Should something like this happen again, we will find ourselves much in a similar boat as mortals do when faced with the prospect of death.
Didn't
There's-
expect to ever be raped.
The second bit of work that I have to speak of is you.
I haven't done anything.
Ripples in the Nexus
Do what? I didn't say that.
that is currently falling apart.
That I did not cause that.
Yes,
What?
but you are not helping.
Oh no.
I mean, how many I saw? I guess.
By bringing it up here, I would like to.
Yes.
The
Why?
other thing
That
has
is-
come close,
The
come
next one.
into and stolen from my domain.
Why did I invite
Yes.
you? Why do we let you
Because he's
exist?
on trial.
That's
You
not
don't
our
have a
fault.
choice.
It's because of how many issues he has brought, he has caused.
There are only issues to some people in this room. Mainly you two. And him.
Mass individuals.
Yes,
I'd
because
love
this
to
one
see
never
you try
faces
again.
issues.
Oh,
Set
I
up a new
wouldn't
guard
do
dog.
that.
Oh,
You
I
have a
would also-
guard dog?
Yes.
Does it have 3 heads?
Not yet.
Is his name Cerberus?
No.
No.
Dang it.
Not yet.
I would have enjoyed that.
There's no way to chance. Yeah,
What
back
did
to
you do this time?
Which kind is this?
So the ripples in the Nexus.
Hey, all I'm saying is all of the doors got a lot less, and I found a couple I probably wasn't supposed to find. And I
what
enjoyed
with
that
them?
trip a lot. It was a really fun vacation. You know, y'all's reality was crumbling, and I was just having fun.
I'm sorry, where did you go?
Not here.
Which doors? Useful.
The ones that technically open outside of reality.
Talking about the antidotes.
Yes.
But
Because
no,
there are no
lost.
minds in the beyond.
There are some, but they are not connected to the Nexus.
There shouldn't be. I didn't
It
know
would
what
exist
that.
in the beyond.
That is not what I was referring to.
What
were
is
you
being
referring
used
to? One of his experiments in which he takes power and shoves it into a person and then just shoves them out into the world to see what they'll do, how it'll happen. Known as the Dreamer, is a telepath of immense ability,
Yeah.
and she was terminated in the physical world, but it seems she somehow retreated into her mental.
Oh, she's still
Room.
kicking around. Sweet, I'm gonna go find her.
Unfortunately, she is causing quite she's causing many issues in the Nexus.
Is that why it might be falling apart?
I
Hey, if she's doing it, I'll go solve that problem. Because I kind of like the Nexus existing.
it lines up time wise.
What are the direct consequences for the Nexus degrading reality?
Everyone's minds are connected, including ours. If it ceases to exist, our minds get broken.
What does that look like?
We don't know.
You die.
It hasn't happened.
You lose your mind, you don't exist.
Exactly how many ways can we be killed? I'm getting a longer list all the time.
Too many.
You're
We
That
need
is
to-
good
we need to erase
You
most
don't
of
know
them.
that we
Not
die
really.
if we don't have minds. That's just a guess.
What are the
I'm-
chances we die?
Good chances?
Plants don't have
How
minds.
would I know?
They have-
Just because I am
Well, I mean, I have those too.
just because I am
And
the
I-
embodiment of chances.
You
I mean,
don't
I know
have
the
minds.
chances of everything.
Do what?
You don't have a mind.
I'm the embodiment of mental pain. How would I not?
The only one who
Pain.
really seems to mind here is you.
Pain can be physical.
If I had to extrapolate as to what losing our minds would be, or then breaking, more or less, I would imagine it being a total loss of ego and self-autonomy. And thus, I think the energies that
surge
we...
out of control.
I don't know if they would surge out of control, but they would...
We would,
They
we
would-
would cease to be able to operate them and thus be unable to enjoy their benefits.
What if it's like what
The more
happened to Ed?
direct consequence of that is our existences are forged
What
off
happened
of
to
concepts created by mortals.
Wasn't he broken by the voices in the dark?
How?
He wasn't...
His mind was broken, and when it was tried to fix, it broke.
He
it
is a
more.
board member where
That was
I do not have experience with that level of mind.
Well, then we go a step down. The voices in the dark broke their own mind.
They didn't break their own mind. They changed that, to my understanding. But again, that is still barely above me.
Still
We have-
comes down to
You and I are the
Regardless.
outliers here.
what happened, who created what. A creation went out of control.
And now major
And now-
consequences are coming from it.
Issues are arising
I'm
because of it.
when you say creation, are you referring to the dreamer and the nexus or the voices in the dark?
Yes.
Fair enough. I only have control over one of those.
I am
Point
noting
those
recurring
down.
themes here.
What is that? Okay.
Pardon?
What is that referring
Somebody makes something that they set loose and suddenly becomes a huge problem for all of us.
Thank you, brother.
Technically, the voices in the dark weren't set loose.
The
They
issue
were not
remains is that they eventually caused a problem.
You
Just
said
like
I'm
your
gonna deal with the
experiment.
dream.
Just like your experiment.
If I say I'm gonna do something, you should just take it at face value and assume it will be done.
why.
That's
Because I can't.
not a good thing.
What happened to the one that was in charge of the Nexus?
Nexus?
Is he yours?
Where is it now again?
Vortex.
Oh, that dude. He's a
He said
bit
he
of a
couldn't
pain.
deal with it, according to Jason. He couldn't interfere.
Yeah, that dude is no fun. He's the serious
He hasn't
kill.
spoken to me about it.
Well,
Dang, I
the
didn't
order
know the
can't
dreamer had
fix it.
full power.
Let me see if he
Wait. No. I was talking to him, not you.
I mean, it's always.
Wait.
I think the fact of the matter is that everybody is trying to address as a problem to be solved is that, yes, there are powers beyond us that will at times and have at times presented us problems that we can no way meaningfully affect. I think
If we can't meaningfully affect, how the heck did a bunch of mortals do it?
That was my question.
Because we have more limits set on us than they do on them.
Yeah.
Oh.
So let's go as a group.
That's
we
fine.
could just ask consequences to kindly just go sit in a corner? I would
No.
personally. Yeah, no, it would be great.
My thought on it that although we are, by definition, more powerful, they have more
Liberty.
freedom and strength of will to do what is necessary. We have our rules. They have theirs, but they don't know their rules. I think that's one of the issues.
And who knows if any board members were helping?
Would you agree with that?
More or less.
I
yes.
have some information I am forbidden from presenting.
Is it pertaining to the board?
On several.
How truly wonderful.
Speaking of freedom, I think that is a topic that needs to be breached soon.
Hey, I think it would be fair
Yes.
since Chance took a long-term locked in a room.
Do not
Board-
speak. Do not speak in my
I
defense.
said we should lock Board in a room.
No.
What?
I'm
Not to get caught.
not a fan.
I would do so much better.
Maybe behind the paperwork, you might let us know what you've done with my child.
What? Your child?
Is this like a biological kid or
Am I
bio?
wrong about that? Is that
No.
correct?
The way
That's
you,
right.
Freedom is missing.
The entity.
Yes.
That's not good.
That wasn't me.
Yes, I have a
You
very
think that
clear
if we take it
suspect
to
in
you-
mind. Of course, he has a vested interest in keeping things like that locked away.
You know, that does make
Words.
sense on a certain
Word
level.
time.
It seems
Under orders
out of-
control.
Yes, but that got remedied last meeting.
Mm-hmm. Now what happened?
I
Yes.
don't know past that. I let her go.
Oh,
So then she's an agent of chaos, free amongst the wind.
And
I
thus,
feel like
no
Chaos would
longer
know
my
about
queen,
that.
and suddenly my brothers.
Personal grievances aside, what does that mean if freedom's missing?
Is she missing? Or is she doing what she's meant to do?
I don't know. I'm taking Chaos's word.
I cannot
Maybe
locate.
she just doesn't want to talk to you right now. Rebellious child phase.
Possibly, but we tend to get along quite well.
Every child has to leave the nest at some point.
Of course, but normally there is some sign, some.
Well, if she's been locked up for some time, she's going to want to not go home for a little bit.
Really, that's the response to being kidnapped, not going home.
What does it
I
mean?
am
What does it mean that she's gone? Has this affected any of us or mortals as time's passed?
I haven't noticed
Potential.
anything.
I personally don't recall. I don't really have much stake in this, apparently.
It's not like we've had much time. We already got back.
Can I
don't
ask
even
a
know
slightly
how long.
related question?
Go
So, all but two in this circle are concepts.
Mm-hmm.
Darkness, death, chance, chaos, infinity, order, magic, karma.
Mental pain.
Two that aren't necessarily concepts. We have myself, who is more of a...
Representative.
I'm a representative for a place.
An incredibly powerful place.
And you,
That was a fun trip.
That was not.
Why is everyone mad at me?
I'm not
I'm
mad.
not.
What's the problem?
he just got a patch up a tree. Yes, a very important one.
Also,
Damage it.
you also released someone who, by all accounts and assumptions, is breaking the nexus.
That's the one we're referring to this time? Okay, cool. I said I would take care of that. She is a good telepath. I'm better. I'll take care of the telepath issue, okay?
Aren't we disallowed from directly interacting with?
I'm pretty sure he has direct influence over her already, so it's okay.
She's not connected to him, but the Nexus.
Connected to the nexus itself.
No, she is directly in a relation with me. I have direct contact with her on several and multiple occasions. She is currently stuck in the Nexus causing issues. I'm going to get her out of the Nexus so it doesn't break, because I kind of like its existence. It makes
I'm not the
traveling
one who
very
makes the
useful.
rules. I'm simply pointing out that he cannot even interact with his organization at all now.
If
Despite
nothing
his
else, it
frequent
will be
contact with them
trial.
before.
Hmm.
Just because you've had frequent contact with that
True,
person before does
something
not
is
mean
wrong.
you
He
can
takes the
proceed.
fall.
That would be a
Didn't
shame.
say I couldn't suggest something. Said I couldn't directly influence.
I think
Depending on how you
I
define
think this is a
those
good experiment.
words.
I agree. I think that let him.
If this
Am I
goes
being volunteered to
poorly,
do an experiment?
Ooh, yes.
you are
if
going
it goes
to take care of the
poorly,
problem.
you take the fall.
Cool.
If
And
his
if it
direct
does
contact
not
is-
go poorly, what do I get from all of you?
Then the
Nothing.
next is
Then-
intense.
You fixed your
We
issue.
have allowed
Yes.
you to full control of the situation.
Thank you.
Exactly.
That's
And if it goes wrong, you
terrible
go blame.
idea. Do you know how many issues he's caused?
Yes.
Yes, let him
Are
solve
you-
this one.
I didn't fix it.
Let him clean this
Thank
one
you
up.
for trusting me.
Maybe.
I don't trust
Oh,
you.
come on.
I
you
want you to fail.
I was talking to her, not you. I know you don't.
I'm curious as to what the limits of this are and how far we can push them.
The
I
Nexus
agree.
or me breaking the rules?
The
The
rules.
rule.
If
Oh,
I,
With
I
the
have
love to
Full
test the
intention of finding it.
Good experiment, I would say.
That's perfect.
if I might put in a word, trial and error is elevated from random swings to precedent when we take notes.
Yeah,
Or
that
do you
is
want to take notes on this one?
It is paperwork.
Seems like orders to me.
Don't like the paperwork I do. It is just necessary.
You seemed very excited about it.
Yes.
I'm excited to be done with it.
Oh, don't worry.
Which
I will
unfortunately
make
for-
sure you have.
Unfortunately for the rest of us, your little test is a necessary evil.
Does anyone have any
What?
reasonable
particular test?
objections?
If it goes wrong, they die.
Oh, yes, that. Yes. I think
Oh,
we're referring to
that's
the dreamer.
Who says die?
You break rules, you get consequences.
I
Kill
have-
yet.
They said he died.
Just
Just
consequences.
consequences.
Abstract
It's
consequences.
wishful thinking on his part.
I have one
The
objection.
consequences for me can be as severe as following orders and instructions for
Why not
24
two?
hours, or just getting a slap on
That
the
does
wrist.
Yes,
truly
death.
sound awful.
By the way, that is 100% worse than that.
If you're going to kill her, please give me some advance warning. She's another one that slipped through my fingers. She technically died, but then adapted out. That's
All
been
she
a-
has left is a mental friend. If I destroy the mental friend, you won't get any to deal with.
It's not exactly strictly how it works, but for this argument, just let me know if you're going to break the mental frame. Can you do that for me?
No.
You are so considerate.
Do you understand my struggle?
I know that hand's not going to stay attached if it touches me again.
Alright. I wouldn't test that. With your second proposal made, Gardner, would you please roll charm?
Which proposal are we rolling?
At letting you test.
Oh.
What's your charm?
Please, like, just epically fail so I can go do it.
Specifically allowing fear
Oh.
of him to the next.
He just completely succeeded.
Oh yeah.
Stick it out.
Pull it.
Yeah, 11.
That'll get it done.
Delay.
Oh.
Total. So,
Same.
that the gardener's idea and proposal for this test, whether you agree with it or not, is quite convincing.
So be it. The eyes. Gardner, you spoke well.
So you have
I do actually agree with this one. As much as I hate just letting people go break the rules, it does seem necessary at this point in, as you said it, taking notes takes what was it?
precision.
Who's gonna keep an eye on?
On
I was
him?
about to say, what if we sent someone with him?
I'd be happy to watch it.
Yes, what if we sent someone with him? We clearly don't trust him.
I'm much
Clearly
more
the darkness
comfortable with the
volunteers.
darkness doing it.
Oh no.
Oh,
You're
brother,
opposed?
you're never comfortable.
To the darkness following him? I think the darkness is the best at following people of everyone here, except maybe you.
Well, Maggie has volunteered.
I don't think we should put those two together.
No.
Which one are we putting together?
Not putting together.
I was gonna have a lot of
Here's
fun with
why
that.
you volunteered.
I'm in favor of Magic joining.
Why
I'm
do you
simply
volunteer?
offering up my services. I'm
Yeah,
very
Con's
good at
very
following
willing
and
to pass.
finding the darkness
I'm
and people
simply very
and
curious.
everything else.
Can you access the Nexus? This is entirely gonna be happening in there.
All of us can access the Nexus, moron.
Hey, I just know I'm the best
Not all of us
telepath and
want to
best
go
at it.
there.
I don't know if you guys
That
can
doesn't
keep up.
mean
I'm not
anything.
watching.
We can.
You wouldn't make it out
To finish your statement earlier, order. trial and error is elevated from wild swings to precedent when you take notes. That was the full sentence.
Yes, and I believe that is true. So, as much as I hate to say it, I do believe taking wild swings and breaking the rules will help me at least set a precedent so we can follow them in the future.
I gotta check something off my bucket list. I
You
never
are
thought I was
not
gonna
helping
happen.
your case.
No, I just never thought I was gonna hear Order say break rules.
Right?
Then you
I-
relax a bit.
Oh no, that's never gonna. That's not even on like the realm of possibility.
No,
That's
I want to calm it down. I
Yeah.
can see his blood pressure raising.
You can see the darkness stirring in him.
Now, the two options for those who will follow the Exalted One are the darkness or magic.
I would like to put forth another option.
No.
You better not.
No.
It has a personal stake in this.
For all in favor of the darkness, please raise your hands.
Am I allowed to vote on this?
No. Yes.
Yes. No.
If you are a part of this council.
We do not grant you the rank of master.
For all those in favor of magic, please raise your hands.
I like magic. Magic's
Can
voting.
I raise my hand for myself?
Is this a once person slot, or is it like we just voting for everyone we want to go?
Who you would prefer?
Okay, already voted then.
Come on, magic's voting.
Garfield has received more votes.
We should give me a little bit of a conversation.
For at least the moment,
Don't take that personally.
it will be the dark.
Darkness once again. You're often the last thing people see before they meet me. Thanks for being a great meeting. Or, greeter, that's the word, greeter.
Got you.
Are you guys like roommates or something?
We are on friendly terms. We had a lot of time to talk in the ring. Or post ring, I don't know.
Like, who all are you on the
Should not be designated.
Order and I are well acquainted.
Chance of getting-
I'll be honest, I don't really appear much. Order just showed up a whole bunch in the early times to inform me I was doing my job wrong. So now the job gets done right.
You want to show up?
Now we get along great.
You want
I don't.
I do things correctly.
There's no
Sometimes.
you don't
If
learn
you do it
anything
correctly,
new.
you don't
Right.
break the rules and you don't
Wrong.
break reality.
Try to avoid breaking it.
I am the into suffering. There's a right way to keep someone from hurting. It's
also
a practical
wrong way.
union.
Huh?
Oh my gosh.
What are you shivering about? I missed the details.
No. Darkness was informing us there's a wrong way to die, and absolutely correct.
I unfortunately didn't die going through that. It sucks.
Good. I'm not.
What's the next point? I have something to get back to.
What? Fixing it free?
We already did that.
Again?
Did you break it again?
No.
No, I'm
Still,
I'm not saying
I
I
feel
broke
like
it
there's
again.
still
I'm not saying
something
I
wrong
won't break it.
with the concept of time. Something just doesn't sit right.
Why are you fixated on it?
Because time feels like it should be a force.
Just as space is not a manifested entity, neither is time, and the two are inextricably related.
Let's let the darkness answer.
And darkness is here, but there's no lightness.
There's no really reason or rhyme as to why any one of us is manifested, with the exception of a few. But to those of you who have been around for a very long time, it's more or less just the way the universe is presented you.
Going off of that, when was the last time someone called out to you individually?
What do you mean by that?
When was the last time someone tried to contact you or you
We're not
individually?
continue this
5
Yesterday?
minutes ago.
with the darkness.
Well, actually, he's trying right now.
Talking
Really?
with someone right
5
now.
minutes ago? Is that like a long break?
Not
for you?
really,
'Cause I would assume
I'm
it would
very
be like
curious. And
once a
your
millisecond or
fixation.
something.
It generally is, but to be
There's a-
called
I'm
out by
going
name.
somewhere with
I know.
this.
But
There's
he
a
doesn't
man
have
in a
time.
church begging me to kill Peter Parker.
When was the last time someone tried to contact you directly?
Right now.
Me?
What?
Define contact.
Answer the question. I'm not
Contact me
playing-
directly?
Yes.
It's about like once an hour.
Technically, I'm supposed to be having tea with him right now, and he's asking where I am.
Yes.
Last meeting.
Is it better if I think no one has it all?
No.
Or you're just forgetting.
I don't rightly remember. Who really
Maybe
keeps track of time amongst people like us?
Batman. You're new.
Of course, I would put his hand up.
It has been millennia for me.
I'm assuming you're not counting me in that contact.
I'm talking about someone
Mortal.
immortal. Amortal.
Mm-hmm.
People call out to you or try to run away from you all the time.
Seconds by seconds.
I'm sure people have not necessarily called out to you, but they have made contact with you more often than myself.
Well, I seem to have, part functioning in this universe, so honestly, I am enraptured by your guys' conversation.
You have
But
your
I
genetics.
don't know my part to play.
A specific universe out of many you did not function in, but in other ones you did.
So, when was the last time someone tried to contact Time of us?
Of us?
Well, Jason wanted to, but
He's not you.
yes,
Us here currently.
Yes.
I don't need to keep track of time.
When was the last time you tried to contact them?
Right before the meeting.
Did you get anything?
That's where
You and Time feel like you might be on good terms based on the fact that when someone runs out,
On the very rare occasion I've been moved, it's normally I will send a request Time's way because the suffering's gone on too long, whether it's something like a throat wound and it feels like it's gone on for an eternity and you're just watching for like 4 hours and you think there's no possible way this could go longer, and I just sort of get a vague feeling that it's not gonna stop. I'm like, okay, Time, can we stop this? This is long enough.
have any of you three contacted him recently?
By three, which three are you referring to?
Time.
we've seen
Which
not
three?
yet.
You said it. And you,
I'm going down
three?
the line.
Okay.
I have not yet. I intended to, but didn't get around.
Yeah, I have not a care in the world for Time as a concept or a thing.
I regularly contact.
When is the last time you heard from him?
Just before the universe restarted.
So that's two entities
Yes,
we have
I've
there.
forgotten.
You don't keep track.
No, I try to avoid them as best I can.
That makes two
Is it important that we
missing.
contact
then.
Time?
Well, all of us will run out eventually.
Oh, I assume
It
they
did.
just wouldn't.
Yes, and that's a very mortal
So here's
view
my
of the
question.
situation.
Did Time come back?
Flowing.
What about freedom?
Is it?
We don't experience the flow of time, do we?
An entity
Not
is
in the
never-
same capacity as mortals do, no.
Wait, just
I'm
because
certainly not right here.
even if an entity were to no longer be, doesn't mean that what they represent would no longer be. For example, there are many things that are concepts that could be entities, but are not, just like we.
For example, as I mentioned earlier, space and time are inextricably linked, and space still very much does exist.
So what if it wasn't recreated, or was unraveled somehow?
Didn't manifest again.
Correct.
Highly possible.
I highly doubt that the board would have made such an obvious oversight.
My fellows,
Maybe it
you're welcome to
wasn't
send
an
me a
oversight.
letter. We have got enough requests. We need to go make appearances.
Yeah, stop it.
We'll be at the next one.
Thank you for joining.
Well, no one here has anything particular.
Good luck.
No one is being accused or
Are you gonna kill Peter Parker, by the way?
we should have
Are you
any
gonna kill Peter
information
Parker?
on
We'll
time.
Okay.
Eventually.
We just
I
don't
wanna
know.
watch video.
It seemed to have misplaced my pocket watch whenever I.
Well, then let's leave it to the people who care to solve that problem.
Huh? Sorry, I was not paying any
Since
attention.
none of us seem to have any particular information and no one has any even guesses as to what might be at the time, let's leave it to the people who care to solve it.
I have several guesses as to what would have happened at times.
No.
But
Please share.
any number of possibilities. One, he didn't manifest, that's already been discussed. Two, somebody who pissed him off and he was like, hey, they're gonna meet. No, he wasn't invited, so that's unlikely. Three, he's busy.
It's not just me.
If
I
any
did
of us are
take
going to be
that
busy,
sense.
death is.
Oh, well, that is.
Yeah, he did leave.
Yes,
That's a
And darkness.
vacation.
but if time,
I never
Not
haven't done
really.
that ever.
death is busier than time.
Yeah.
From what I
Wrong.
understand,
Time has a constant speed.
time flows one
Death is
direction.
happening.
As he mentioned.
Millions and trillions.
Possible to
per
manipulate that.
How often have you done
Point
that? Are you doing it right now?
No.
point of order, I would say, is that
No.
even we will find out very shortly if time is not functioning as normal. I mean, simply with the absence of death now having to attend to certain matters relevant to their own energy that they
Thank you.
manifest as, it seems to prove that time does still very much exist and flow in accordance to how it used to.
But as Infinity has said a number of times, time doesn't exist as one of us at the moment.
No, nor do I think he ever did.
I
It
think-
ever did.
The two people that would notice fastest would that wait. I think the two people that noticed fastest in this room, if time was not functioning, would be me and Infinity, considering the number of people that can have the ability to directly contact us.
You should see the amount of time Ordo checks his pocket watch a second.
It's 1 every 26.
No.
Now,
Why?
with this recent development,
Sometimes I get
I will need a roll individually from each of you. Now, you first, because you're right here. Would you please roll spirit?
Okay.
Well, fine.
Is there any one of us that has a 0?
occasionally I check it for.
I don't think so.
That is 10.
There's lots.
Please roll spirit.
No. Adamant refusal. No, I cannot, apparently.
And what was that?
You disapparate.
Was that a 5?
You completely.
+1.
Infinity,
Chances.
can you please share? Roll spirit.
Take your death.
Wait, who's facing that?
Those were
Ah.
6%.
You get a 9 too?
No, I got a 13. Nope. I got a 14.
Nice.
Oh,
I got plus 3.
Oh,
Can you
great.
please
That's awesome.
roll spirit? You have a +1, by the way.
6.
Hey, thanks.
Magic, can you please roll spirit? Do you have any bonus?
Yeah.
That was with the bonus.
I have a bonus of plus 8.
Yeah.
Uh, 10.
Gardner?
Yeah.
Snake
Nope.
Oh no, I'm
Karma.
dyslexic. I
Got
guess.
3.
Okay.
He's +1.
6 total.
That's going 9, 12.
I rolled a 4. I got a 14. 10, 6, 14, 6, 8, 10, 6.
12.
So all failures are 6. That's really funny, actually. Everyone who straight succeeded, so anything above a 10.
Ah.
Above a 10 or 10 or higher?
Remain.
10 or higher.
Yay!
I disagree.
Time. As you try and like focus for a second, it doesn't feel quite right. It's not flowing the way it's supposed to. For magic, as you were the only one that kind of succeeded, you feel time, though you can't tell what's wrong with it. You know something is wrong. You do not know why. For those of you that got 6, you felt nothing. So just us. Okay. And you get a moderate success. Yeah, I got 14 and 11.
I succeeded.
Oh, you
that
did?
one
We
you
don't
did.
matter.
Yeah,
What
there
did
was, there were 10.
Oh, right.
So
Perfect.
barely succeeded.
So
And chaos.
get out. Yeah.
Nigga,
I think you got a 6.
Sure.
I got a 6 and a 3 plus a 1.
Oh, okay.
Most of us succeeded then.
That's not good.
Upon a moment of introspection, it would seem to appear that time is not functioning as it normally had before everything was erased. Though I wouldn't necessarily be. I'm not worried about it.
Why? You're new here.
No. I am, yes. I am new here, but I have. Weston had much experience in dealing with these kinds of situations and
Not dealing with them.
figuring out how to solve them, if they could indeed be solved. That is more or less besides the point. I don't think that this is something to worry about because what can we do about it?
We could figure out why it's happening.
Those
To
who
those
care-
who don't know. Sorry.
Let those who care figure it out on their own.
Of course.
Was that an intentional plan where
To those who didn't or couldn't feel it, time isn't flowing properly.
That doesn't surprise me. My garden's not growing correctly.
What? Your garden is affected by time.
Everything is.
I thought the
just
garden
flows.
was in its own dimensional void of sorts. That was incredibly difficult to get through, by the way.
It may be, and it may flow differently, but everything is affected by time. We are, it's just at a much slower rate.
That's probably a very good reason he's not a force.
He would be voice in the dark tier in the food chain because of how
I think that
consistent
would be fate.
time is.
Regardless, there's nothing we can do at this point.
We could
Why
figure
is
out
fate
what
not part of the council?
What fun is fate? Says you will do this.
He
you
is
will do
very
this, you will do
preoccupied.
this."
Always
Wait,
writing.
their prediction.
That wasn't my question.
And then I like promptly
Why
do it,
isn't
can't
he
change my
here?
mind.
doesn't
Not
wish.
why isn't he here?
He doesn't wish to appear.
Was he
told
invited?
me.
Which being
He's
was
a
our
force.
Okay.
I saw fate. Oh, force. Fate.
Oh, yeah.
Were there any of us that didn't survive?
The void. Wait, what? The void did not survive.
Yeah.
The void still exists, right? Not void.
The entity.
There are a few who are unconfirmed.
Okay.
You talking about forces or entities?
Forces. Were there any forces that did not reappear?
The Crimson King, he was immortal. Like this one here.
Yes,
He
this
became
is the
one.
second one in a very short period of time.
Just for worrying.
Yeah, except
There
he
was
died.
forces. Exactly.
But there
He
was
is not around.
there should have been a piece of him that regrew though in the ring.
He hasn't seen shown himself yet.
Or
Hasn't
hasn't
seen
figured
him more
out.
like
As I remember, there were multiple that disappeared
The catalyst.
right
Well,
around the
there's
time
the
of the end. There was the Catalyst, there was the Crimson King, and was it the Void or the Beyond?
The beyond cannot be destroyed.
You can't ignore something that doesn't exist.
And yet the void was destroyed.
but it does exist.
I've been in it.
Void.
And have any of those not been accounted for yet?
All three.
None of them have been accounted for?
None of them have been found or answered the call
So we can be killed permanently.
by the end.
Or at least
Wait.
unfound.
If, as I was saying earlier with the Nexus being destroyed, if all memory of the concept that constructs you is destroyed, it is possible to erase that concept from existence.
What memory is, who remembers me?
You are, as far as my understanding goes, a thing created by the garden or the board directly to tend it.
Yeah.
You are not an
Who
embodiment
remembers
of
the garden?
concept. The board does.
So
It's
what
one
happens
option.
if all the mines go away?
I do. It's another option.
Board's not
No one would, because
Exactly.
no one would, because the Nexus would be destroyed, and none of us would have minds.
Is the garden a force?
Yes,
Yes.
he is a representative.
Of what? I'm
It is not-
not
it
sure.
is
It's
not
not
a-
my job to
No.
It's my job to protect.
How are you not even a little bit curious?
It's not my job to know. It's my job to protect.
You gotta ask questions, man.
Questions lead to trouble.
Exactly. Trouble leads to more knowledge because you learn from your past experiences.
I also think at this point, any one of us should be more or less content with the fact that many of our natures remain rigid and unchanging. So, whereas curiosity might be present in some of us, it remains an impossibility for some others.
My concept still eludes me.
And it should be noted that while memory does have some effect on us, especially in relation to the board, but also in relation to mortals and the ones we are connected to, it should not be noted that is not the only thing that allows us to exist as what we are. There is, as I understand it, a sort of base energy that comprises most of us, if not all of us. That yes, is the fundamental, is the foundation for us. But then what we present, what we are, being fear, order, infinity, karma, chaos, that is a bit more hazy.
Not to mention, even if we were simply concepts, the concept that governs that you are promoting or advocating for, I am certain is remembered by Jason.
For now.
I was kind of thinking about something else. What we were talking about.
What did you do with the branch?
Huh?
What did you do with it?
I'm gonna be honest. I kind of lost it.
I put it back.
Oh, sweet. Like back in the garden, back in my possession.
Back
One
in
of-
the branch that it was
Webkin put it back.
in the tree.
Why did
Technically,
you do
Jason
that? That took a lot of
took
work
it
to
back.
get,
Well,
man.
technically the Inferno. Put it back.
Weston
Yes, my
put it
guardian.
back.
Wait, what? Gargoyle's the Inferno or Weston? Because there's a lot of names bouncing
The
around.
Inferno.
The Inferno.
I thought you were saying Weston was your guard dog, and I was like,
That would
No.
be that would be a many.
That would be a nightmare.
I know, I would love it.
So, I do have a. Are there any other mortals that have more than one connection? Is
Too
it
many.
Just. Do we have a list right now?
The list.
I don't
Oh,
think we
yeah.
know Jason.
Yes.
I know Jason does. He has 3.
Yes.
To which
Weston did
Weston,
at time of.
before his, for lack of a better term, ascension, yes, he had more than one.
Do we need a list, or can each of us just deal with the prospective individuals who we have connections to, and leave it to whatever other entity to solve their own problems or to punish?
Mortals should not have that much power.
And it's our job to deal with the ones with connections to us. Yes.
Yes, and what if someone has connection to multiple?
Then those should
Jason.
speak together.
According to the phrasing of the rules, it says mortals can't have more than one connection. It is possible to make somebody immortal without making them an entity or a fourth.
And regardless, I don't believe
Not
I
in the
have
way you think it is.
I bet I can do it.
We will stay with this.
If people choose not to deal with their problems, then I'm sure they'll be punished, and we'll get to a good example of what that looks like.
As I posited earlier in the meeting, I think if it comes down to the wire on who retains what connection to who, it should be, if the answer does not come from anyone above us, it should come from the individual who has the connections themselves. They should be offered a choice as to which they would most prefer, and then the other two. will
He's been
help remain.
connected to you longest, correct?
Or we could just
Correct.
See what happens.
Wonder if nostalgia will influence, yes, his decision.
I
Maybe.
do wonder.
What do you give him?
The ability to see and interact with other worlds.
Oh,
It
I
might
would
also-
not give that up.
It would also could be greed for power that could keep him connected there.
Well, if he decides not to choose, I am entirely prepared to make the decision myself.
And as you should be.
That
as
is one. That
directly
is one
involved.
branch I don't care to keep feeding.
As you keep saying.
Might as well.
So, do you like picture that as like a parasite on the tree? Like Jason's branch in particular, is that just like a parasite to you? Or
No, it is more like a graft. Part of another tree that shouldn't be there.
but the whole point of a graft is to put something there so you get something new. If I'm not
Yes.
mistaken.
I've decided I don't want it there anymore.
You've kept it this long then.
It's useless.
And he isn't technically the one who controls who has
No.
connections to the garden. He's with the representative.
That's true. You are, but
And you're just an embodiment.
yes, one step above.
I think Chaos has brought up multiple times a good point. If an issue remains to be a problem, let the people who care about it solve it. If that issue begins to overstep its bounds into any one of our territories or begins to influence other things in ways that presumably a majority or in some cases a minority of us wouldn't prefer, then we can convene about it. But for the time being, I have confidence that Jason will change and mature in certain ways and will be less of a problem going forward.
Come on, he was so useful. Could use him as a scapegoat for so
Yes,
many things.
He was selfish, yes, he was erratic, but he was always good-hearted and always had good intentions. I have left him with people who I think will temper both his immaturity and his erratic nature.
I do look forward to seeing how that works out.
You mentioned our domain, per se.
More or less, our territory.
What is yours? I'm asking you.
Again, as I said earlier on, I'm not entirely sure how I function yet, as I don't fully understand what karma is, both as a product of Weston not fully understanding what balance is on a cosmic scale or in a cosmic sense, but also it's hard to know fundamentally what any given balance is in any situation. It's hard to test it, it's hard to find it, but for the time being, until I figure out more or less what I do and
you have
how I
any
function
connections
and
anywhere?
where I act,
Hold your tongue.
I will be doing the best I can to serve as an arbiter.
May I give a suggestion?
Good question. Do you have any connections to anyone yet? Because that'd be
No.
one of the easier.
No,
No, nor do I have any immediate intent to create any connections with anybody for
Oh,
a very long time.
Can I give some advice? It may help to have a physical representation instead of just a mental one of what you stand for. In this instance, maybe it is a scale.
balance.
By stealing, are we?
Just a
Are we
physical
stealing?
representation.
Stealing a scale, are we?
I see. Noted. We'll certainly take it under consideration.
Along. What is yours?
Oh, that's a silly question. I don't limit myself to one particular thing.
What's your favorite?
My favorite? I'm partial to contemporary art.
Out of all the things you could have picked,
I'm lost.
Could be one of the worst.
I agree with you. Paul.
It's not the
You
worst.
have to go with the good, like, landscape painting.
That's so boring.
But pleasant.
Good
It
morning.
is.
As
And
they
you
should.
try Van Gogh.
And like, actually
Yeah,
takes skill. It's not like a rectangle of brown on
That's
black
probably
canvas.
Someone under your
Remand cry.
control, as well as the representative of the Nexus, would like to join. Will you allow it?
The rep. Oh, okay. Yes. Yes.
I can see him again.
Huh?
It's been a while.
You're about to join. Who is this to you?
I know.
Are you gonna play PvP or
I'm
what?
making a. This is a great
Oh, just
opportunity
one.
for me to keep notes on who
Not
is
necessarily
okay with
to
me,
the
who
opportunity.
I should avoid dealing with. 'cause
Alright.
they wanna kill me.
Large majority, if I were to pick again.
I believe I'll continue to speak.
As you go through aware.
Deal.
Oh, sorry, I'm late. Is this Vortex?
Yes, it's Vortex.
Have the key.
Hi.
Vortex.
I'm Vortex. Nice to.
I
You have news?
Well, I was invited.
What's wrong with the Nexus?
There he is.
Why don't they?
You seem
I feel like I'm gonna sit
You're right.
Sitting there before.
Before everybody starts making observations or accusations or submitting questions,
Why do we have to wait? I'm going to accuse you now.
I think it would just simply be best if Vortex went ahead and said what he had been intending to say.
Well,
That he's late.
yeah, that first I wasn't invited being the representative of the Nexus, which is a force, so I'm like him.
Being
There's
said,
two of them.
No.
the main problem with the Nexus at the moment,
Yes. First-
More fun.
At the moment, it's stable, but it was not previously, and it will not be in the future.
what?
A shame.
The entity of fear at this time recently disposed of a previous version of the darkness
He's one of yours.
and had absorbed that darkness's energy, becoming a force himself. And
the darkness was sitting in my chair.
I'll get there.
Great.
Fear in the Nexus tried to do something. I'm not sure what. I couldn't see it, but he tried to use the Nexus to do something, and he broke it.
I didn't ask him to do it. It was not me.
Not blaming us on you.
Thank you.
On a second note about the darkness, sorry. You're all very important people, and I'm me.
No, you're important.
I understand.
No.
You're annoying. Don't take it personally.
It's
You just your job makes my job difficult.
You boil enough of his plans that I respect you.
Continue talking, please.
Something, hi. That's a bad,
Continue.
That's a choice.
That is fine.
something was inadvertently created during that whatever fear did.
Something.
And that something is breaking the Nexus.
Not this dreamer.
The dreamer is not helping. In fact, it's making it worse.
How?
This thing that was created is, with lack of a better word, no one.
It's not helpful in
It
any
is
regard.
not. It is a being that has never existed and technically does not exist,
Oh, that's even.
and therefore it is no one.
So they're
That's
called.
all.
they're
It
called-
only knows itself by no one.
Oh,
It
that's
calls
funny.
the dreamer mother. That's creepy.
Oh,
And
that's
something
fun.
else. It
No.
calls father.
I actually think that
What do you
these
call
are
fear?
weird.
I don't know. I haven't seen fear since it happened.
But you knew it refers to something else's father?
Yes.
How?
It says it when it comes. I've never seen it. I've just heard its voice.
Is it by chance referring to you? Is that like at all a possibility?
Possibly, but I
That
would take care of it. I'm trying to get rid of it. 'cause
Well,
it's
you
in the
you cut
Nexus, and
yourself
I don't
off
need it. in the
halfway
Nexus.
through a sentence. You said it says father whenever it comes, and then you stop.
Whenever I was about to say comes by, but I've never seen it.
Uh-huh.
I've only heard its voice. And I can't sense its mind because it doesn't have one.
Wait.
It is most likely referring to you.
Follow the dreamer's
I hope
mind.
not.
Is
I
there-
don't want to. I'm not
What have you been
responsible.
getting into?
Let go! I'm not responsible enough to be a dad.
Oh, you don't have to be responsible.
You said there might be something.
I
Responsible.
don't want to. Let him talk.
Chance, you had a guess.
Well, I have a few theories. One fear could be the father. Another, specifically the minute he mentioned he could only hear the voice of it. The way you think you know where this is going.
Does it say anything?
It could be related to the voice in the dark.
No.
No? Good.
No.
Good.
I don't think so.
What has it done so far?
How long has it
It
been?
has merely asked me questions
Well, like,
What questions? Like,
about
you want to play catch?
no.
Are
I
you
really
my
hope
daddy?
it doesn't.
What are you playing catch with in the neck?
Uh,
Out of curiosity.
How long are you going to be
what
up for him?
questions was it asking you?
About what
How do I get in?
things are.
Easiest way.
So
It
is it
doesn't know what anything is. It doesn't know
What is
what
a
it is.
baseball?
It was attempting to learn.
It doesn't know.
It's simply no one,
So it's just learning. It's a child.
Yeah,
effectively.
I think as I understand it, it's contrary to how all of us manifested as more or less fully fleshed out.
I didn't quite.
Oh,
follow
no.
that path, but
Right,
yeah.
right, right. Stick with me here. We all manifested as innate concepts or representatives thereof. This is a peculiar case where the ego has begun to manifest without the thing that it represents. So, unless it can choose or its nature will slowly be revealed, it is essentially any one of us as a child.
Blink.
Quick question.
No one.
Blank slate.
Quick question. When did you? Where in the Nexus did you first encounter this?
When? How long has it been?
Time is relative in the Nexus.
No, I'm
Time is very relative in the Nexus.
There's
And
Not anymore.
everything now.
on our scale.
When I say time is relative in the Nexus, it's to relate to you guys. It doesn't exist in the Nexus. Time does not exist.
Which is why when you go in the Nexus of Immortal and you leave, no time has passed. Really?
Yeah.
Your time is past.
It's relative.
You should have to see the disco parties that are on there.
What I mean is, we have two entities missing, and a third, and this one appears.
It was before existence died.
Okay.
Oh,
That was what I was needing
okay.
to know.
Where exactly? Where in the Nexus?
It wasn't aware. It was in
No.
the Nexus entirety.
Oh, and all of
It
it.
was everywhere. And nowhere, because it's nothing and everything.
Oh, this is gonna be
Stupid.
fun. I hope I didn't do this.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Oh,
Are
it's
you positive that this isn't just the Nexus?
Yes. Because I am the Nexus.
No, you were a representative.
I'm a representative, but in every sense of the word, I am the Nexus.
Just
That's
plans
our
are,
next.
but if it exists everywhere in the Nexus, what if this is replacing the Nexus?
Hey,
Also
quick
in
question.
you.
What? I
Uh,
hate
okay.
that thought.
Can I
It's
roll to
breaking
see if I
everything.
can sense it in the Nexus?
Then we don't want it.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Please roll spirit.
Like everyone?
Even specifically because he asked.
And I just failed that. Okay.
No.
No, wait. You
I
can
got, I got a
plus.
6.
What's your plus?
So as far as
I got a
the
5
meeting
plus 1.
goes, as far as we're all concerned, this is under his jurisdiction of has to solve the problem, right?
I agree.
Well, his problem was the dream.
This,
However,
yeah.
Scale of a number larger than
You
you
can have way more fun because
and this is your fault.
For once, I'm agreeing with Ralph.
Yes,
It's
it
your
is.
problem now.
In light of this new information, this does change. This does change, at least my own personal frame of reference on how this problem should be approached.
Also, didn't we agree Darkness was the one going to come with me? What just happened to him?
We'll work on that.
Busy.
he'll come. He'll be around.
Here,
But did
here's
we
the thing.
different?
This situation now has to be approached, I think, very differently because it seems to me far more delicate. It's not just a matter of pulling out a simple problem. There is now an inherent nature occurring and emerging within the Nexus that can't necessarily be pulled out or
It is-
fixed. But we know it can be influenced. Now the question remains, who do we want it influenced by?
There are 2 figures in its life that would have the most influence, as with any child's mother and father.
We should remove the
I-
mother immediately.
Not necessarily.
It's another thing.
I understand the basic concept of parental figures, but it was asking questions of Vortex, and I assume it's asking questions of any consciousness it can find within itself so that it can learn all that it can. For what reason is yet to be determined. But, as I said, who do we want this influenced by? Who do we want answering its questions? Because
Can I answer the question?
this isn't
No.
anything against you personally, but I would hesitate to suggest you first, as you are a rather historically
Problematic.
not necessarily problematic, but
He's
you
been very problematic.
Not a great influence.
To everything.
he has represented and manifested exactly as what his nature is, and you can't necessarily. I cannot necessarily fault him for doing so.
Going off of that, and going off of yours, the two most have the heaviest influences are the mother and father of a child. Who of you would say you have time for that?
Not me. Put your hand down, exalted one.
I am wanting an honest answer. Who actually believes you have time to be
What are
here?
you up to time?
I have all of the time in existence.
I'm not
So much
responsible enough to be a parent.
We can learn you right quick, buddy.
I'm good.
Guys, I have more something to say than
You don't have an organization.
Correct.
You are not focused enough to be a parent.
I could be focused.
no, you can't.
No, he can't.
You're saying you can't focus chaos?
Yeah.
Yes.
I personally have been
Oh,
very
you
focused and chaotic at the same
You
time.
can focus chaos.
I can be more focused than chaos.
But chaos cannot
You're
be
magic, you have to be
focused.
focused.
It doesn't. You don't have to be able to focus your innate ability to
To
focus
actually
on
raise the
something.
child you do.
That's
Have any of
one-
you actually taken care of something that meant something to you?
I had like
Reality
since she was,
count?
like 6.
One of them is
I
currently
An
remember.
in the
individual thing.
I think I see where you're going with this.
No.
I had to deal with raising a lot of kids.
You can,
Um,
and you've done a wonderful job with that.
Yeah, the Dreamer's a great example of that.
Yeah, I think you're. I assume you're leading to say that you believe you should be the one.
My entire existence is tending and taking care of something.
And
Well,
you're
not
willing
the
to leave your
intelligent
precious
thing.
garden and your protection of that garden for
My,
this.
my garden is much more intelligent than you.
As you have stated in this meeting, you do not know much about this world. There are very few people whose sole existence is seeking out knowledge and truth in this reality.
Yes.
Infinity, he kind of, is infinity. Me, who is
Yes.
Hey,
I know I was invited and all that, but I still have to go back to work. Can I
Please
go?
Yes.
Thank you.
no.
Listen,
He
I
had no more
agree.
information we needed.
I agree with Gardner. I think the Gardner should be one of the people that influence this developing consciousness. But I think, as is something inherent within my nature, there needs to be more than one being.
There should be.
my statement for this part is that there are only 3 entities who are at all reasonable options to do this. And those entities are the Gardener, Magic, and Karma.
Why not me?
He didn't put his hand up.
Well, between those
He
three,
doesn't
I
have
would
anything to do yet.
I would put in a vote for magic.
Of course you.
If I may interject, from my understanding of you three, I hope none of you take this personally, except for
I
Anthony
will.
Gardner. You, as your former human's consciousness, fragments of it still remain. If this being is still asking questions, it needs adequate answers.
Well,
And I
Karma
can
figuring
figure
out
out
some
focus, and he's I was getting that. Karma still hasn't figured out what he is. What if that force, that existence, asks Karma that question? What happens then?
You're a young
The Gardener doesn't know what he represents. What happens if that question's asked? Magic,
I won't
can
give
you
an
even
answer.
explain yourself?
Necessarily.
So it seems that any of the entities as candidates are undoubtedly imperfect for a variety of reasons.
As all parents are.
I can think of
Indeed. However, I think there are better candidates beyond the entities that would be more suited for this task, and I would not hesitate looking for mortals who, many of which have very comprehensive and very.
We aren't even allowed to approach them with the problem.
Unless we are already connected to them.
Hey, Gardner, quick question. Where, better question, would you take care of this existence?
Well, if it can't be removed, then the Nexus.
Because I would
If
advise.
it can be, then I think we need to build a neutral location.
if possible, I would advise against separating it from the dreamer and whatever being it calls his father.
I agree.
Because that has untold consequences on
It
the
is
child's mind.
That is why I'm saying
I can say
I
that
would
from
prefer the
personal
Nexus.
experience.
Also, isn't it important that you remain in the garden?
He's not in the garden actively.
Oh, not always, but this would be a very time-consuming situation, and I imagine
Needs to
being
get out of
away
tender
from the garden that long would be problematic for the tender.
What if you have a point? It is
If
more like a weekend away.
at all
It's been
possible,
sometimes with me in the garden.
We need two.
If it can.
Yes.
if at all possible, and I've tried already once in this conversation to say that there are three beings in existence that their pursuit is knowledge, intelligence of what goes on. Myself, Infinity, and one other whose name I have already mentioned, Truth. He is the embodiment of the concept truth, and he knows absolute truth as part of his innate being. I would recommend him as a candidate for giving something truth, because his whole occupation is being unbiased, raw, in its entirety, the truth.
Unfortunately, I've been unable to contact.
I can.
Even I have the experience to
invite
say
him
that
to.
unbiased truth is very, very rarely the best way to approach a
That is
developing
not
child.
how you raise a child.
But this isn't a
It's
child.
not just a
But
child.
we need to treat it as such. It's
Because-
trying to learn like one.
Yes.
But it already is aware of itself. It's already aware of several things in existence,
Yes.
including it potentially has access to every mind in existence.
Also,
Yes.
who
People
knows what
learn
the
the
dreamer
truth.
has told?
Yeah, that is definitely on the to-do list of
You,
the year.
you still need to deal with her, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
So of these people, particularly that we can contact and won't get in trouble for, unless Warder you would like to stick your neck out for us,
I don't know.
Then
should be talking to
we
more.
could. Would we put forward? Does anyone have any other options aside from people?
I
in-
can invite Truth if you are okay with this.
So truth is an option.
I don't like the concept of someone being raised by the embodiment of truth.
If you don't want him to be raised by Truth, Truth will have truth on what this is.
Regardless, is
Even
there
things
any
are
other
outside of his
option?
domain.
Hmm?
Even things are outside of his domain. You think he knew about the experiments?
He seemed to last time I met with him.
Have
But
you all
he
been
need-
one?
Yeah,
Would you like to summon first?
I would.
Can you please roll spirit?
Hope I don't just mess this up.
Nat 1, nat 1, nat
It's
1.
impossible.
There's, might have to roll again.
It's true.
He
Oh,
also
I
has a
flipped it.
plus
Dang it.
one.
I'm gonna roll that one again.
Oh,
7.
barely.
Partial success.
Didn't want to be near
In
him.
and out.
We'll see. I like these things.
Should move this extra. And sit right from the leg.
I do. What if all of the potential candidates were sharing custody? For example, not all of them.
Oh.
This would be a full-time thing. That means that, and even those of us who are free still have some sort of, some things we need to do or some freedoms we need to have.
I advise against it.
Unfortunately, yes. I think too many. I think too many sources at over the course of any given period of
How
time.
many chefs spoil the soup?
2 or 3.
Upon
I think no more
Considering
than
I'm thinking.
4.
upon reconsidering, I do believe 2 to be the best option here. 2 or
4.
4.
Four's a
Why?
good number.
Why?
Try to get four
I-
people to agree on something.
I say 3 because 2 can be at odds, 4 can form an alliance, but 3 can keep each other in
3
check.
is the number I chose.
3 can keep a secret. 2 of them are dead as well.
We're hard to get.
That is an
So 3 is
unrelated.
fine.
Not
So
impossible.
then, I would. The first person I would posit
Contain is not an
to
option.
raise this child would be Karma, as first off, Karma has nothing to do, and second off, the idea of balance when raising something that could be potentially threatening to all of us is a good idea. The second I would posit would actually be the Exalted. As he has said before, he is both very versed in raising children, and I believe since he is,
None of them have turned out well.
They've done what I
since
asked them
he
to.
is,
Being obedient does not mean good.
He's controllable.
That's not what a child is.
We don't
supposed
want
be.
you to have any control over this.
I won't.
Or-
There's
The
lots of people
exalted
involved in
one.
this.
had stated on a number of occasions that he is one of the only ones here in the true pursuit of knowledge. And I believe taking the Exalted One and getting his unbridled amounts of free time up to raise something would be a good idea for the rest of us.
You do not want him raising a child.
Is there a
And
compassion?
technically speaking, this probably won't help my
The
case at
last
all.
one I would posit would be magic, actually. Because I believe that magic can quite closely emulate life.
In that group,
Hey,
I would almost agree with you as much as it pains me, but fortunately, I do have a point of desertion. I think that instead of Karma, as he is new, unexperienced, and still does not know even what his own nature is, I would instead put forth the gardener.
If
I
I
would prefer the
may,
gardener over this.
if I
man
may
over here.
interject,
I would agree with infinity points. I agree with you frequently.
All right.
Not took you
Back
long
in the
enough.
pot. Where-
Oh, took you long enough.
Please take a seat.
Say no. Please say no.
Let's go! He meant you may sit down, but I like the sporadic.
I'm sure it's nice to meet you. Great.
Hey, you're welcome.
No.
I like this man.
We have questions about him.
Call.
This man is
Yeah,
You know what? I'll sit over here.
Thank you. Are you aware that I got
point.
Nexus?
everyone's moving
Are you
around.
aware of what's actively happening?
I don't need you next to me too.
I have no idea.
I
what's
have
happening.
so much information for you.
Oh,
Yes,
hit
yes,
me
I
with
do.
it. All of it unbridled. Let's go.
All right.
Truth,
This
do you
But
have
also
time or interest raising a child?
I can answer that question for him. Probably not.
And why did you bring it? here?
This man is
He has
not
unbridled knowledge
built
of
to
the
nurture a
career.
child.
No one
He
wants
built
him
nurture
here.
himself.
No one wants him here. He doesn't want to be here,
Who
and
said I don't want to be?
you don't.
I
have to
don't.
join
You don't want to
You
be
can
here.
be here, but you don't want to be put forward for the raising child bit that we're going on for.
Hey, go away.
Who would you
need to
suggest
answer a couple of questions.
Who would I suggest?
the
to
Nexus,
raise a child?
the specifically the creation being made in the Nexus.
No. No one should.
Yes.
Great. Yeah.
No, he's referring.
I understand.
No, that
It
is
was
something
a
I can
joke.
work
I
on.
understand.
I can
You're a
get behind
joke.
that idea.
Who do I suggest
No.
to raise?
To nurture no one.
Nurture. Please don't do
Is
that.
it possible?
You are also very
I
liberal.
don't know that direction.
Is it possible if Void is missing? Correct.
Void is gone.
Is it possible this is a new embodiment of nothingness?
The thought had crossed my mind, but I think if that were the case,
They would have
to
been
be clear,
invited.
the entity that was the void, yes, they no longer exist in the same capacity, but the void, in very vague terms, more or less lives on through its children, not biological by any means, and but children of the void, I know some of them do still exist. I don't know what state their connection is to the void is currently in, but
Someone here does.
I think, point being, I think that if this was the void remanifesting as a child, which is entirely unprecedented, we would know sooner if that was the case.
Here's the question: how would we know?
Well, I mean, we know
How do-
because it can't be the void because the void disappeared after the breaking, the fracturing point.
He's suggesting that the
And
void,
fracturing.
is simply manifesting.
Yes,
But
this
it
man-
has existed at the same time as the void.
exactly. This happened. No one began forming before the void.
I'll
and
give you a
everything
hint.
else.
You're wrong.
Would you tell us then? What is right?
You are right
Yeah.
that it is not the void.
And would it matter?
Why
By the way,
it
his
was-
nickname is Truth the Asshole. Good luck getting him free.
That's not my
Is that a name
nickname.
you
That's
gave
what people
him?
call. That's what he calls.
Oh, that, am I wrong? Just look at the guy.
He looks like an asshole. Listen,
I like the style.
Truth isn't always polite.
So your opinion is that there is no best, or rather suitable, or even worthy, I'll say similar words, candidates amongst this group and beyond the other entities that fits the necessities for raising an emerging entity.
Well, it would need to be two of you.
We
quick
distinguish
question.
three.
Quick question. We are aware close to the dreamer, my daughter and some sort of mother. Are you willing to tell us who it refers to as father?
Fear.
Of course.
Well, that's less fun for them.
Okay, so I can see.
Can you tell us where fear
Were you
is?
hoping to have an offspring?
No.
I can't yet. Will I?
I'm
No.
more than happy with the offspring
why?
I currently have.
Because that's no fun.
This man has never been a real help.
Why
Entire
was this your
existence, not for you.
suggestion?
Well, he's
And
already
why-
given out more information than we possess.
Hold on.
And
Why
we-
was he your suggestion to raise a child?
I said to answer questions.
He's hyper fixating on the fact that it's asking questions.
Can I ask simply? Not you. You. Why is the dreamer called the dreamer? Weston was never really familiar with all that they did, but
If possible, would rather avoid saying. Is everybody in chance of knowing?
Yes.
I don't
I don't care. to keep
Earlier,
going.
towards the beginning of the meeting, when we were discussing Jason, and I said it was possible to remove connections forcibly. That is what she does. She forcefully removes and creates connections from any being in existence.
certainly that's what she does. But why is she called the dreamer?
No. None of what you're saying is true. Maybe it is.
Because it's cool. That's what
It's
And
just
also, she's one heck of a telepath,
an alias.
basically.
It doesn't.
And one heck of a telepath. She, Dreamer's conscious,
How is that even possible?
Should I know? That's why I created her. I wanted to know. I still don't.
Can you
Also,
verify what
I
he
don't
said?
get-
Yes.
I think
It's correct.
as it stands, I think
She can
fear.
create and destroy connections.
I think
on
fear
her.
is a rather suitable candidate amongst the three that we might propose.
Fear or darkness?
Fear.
Why?
Fear is an intrinsic part of any consciousness.
There's one.
You don't want to raise
issue.
a child
on
in fear.
No, but you
One-
need. I believe anyway that you need.
I'm gonna interrupt. One issue with that: fear is not
I'm going to interrupt because it's fun.
available. Of course.
Okay, be that as it may, I would just pursue this.
You have to nurture and help it grow.
True, but you also need to
Yeah,
let it
correct.
understand that there are things to be afraid of, and when they are faced with such things, they either need to confront them or flee.
When they discover that, you need to confront them. You don't raise a child in fear.
I'm not saying that they be raised
It's going
in
to be afraid
fear.
no matter
If you're
what.
raised by fear, you're raised in fear.
I don't think that's
It's
necessarily
every
the case.
child is afraid.
If
And
you
it's the
raise
parents' job to help them not be afraid, not be
What if
raised
that's
by
actually
fear.
what the dreamer's doing? I
Then
don't
you
like
need
it.
someone to counteract it.
No, what if the dreamer's raising it out of fear?
Well, we
Then
all
you
know
need
that
someone
dreamers
to
being
counteract
problematic.
it.
That's
I
not
don't. I don't think that.
Yes, student.
oh, this is gonna get good.
I'll get to that in a minute. You asked me earlier. My suggestion.
Yes.
Out of these people,
Yes.
even the ones not here.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Order,
death
magic, and
darkness. Death?
Heck yeah.
Yes.
Order does
Order,
not have time or
magic
capability
being
to
the
do this.
mother and father, and death being
Order can
whatever.
fit it into his different culture.
I can,
The one keeping them in check.
I can see that.
You'll make them.
And that would be great.
And on paper, order and magic, I think work fine as well. In execution,
I would like to point out order and magic works when together is on paper.
again, as I was going to say, when it comes to the execution of such a thing, I do not know if they would have the facilities or capabilities to properly spare the attention required.
What will it become?
I don't know.
Doesn't
It hasn't
help
happened
future.
yet.
So, but the truth of the
I'm
matter is,
flowing correctly.
What
What the,
might have known what it
what the truth of the matter is,
Flowing correctly,
Can
I
I
mean,
fully state my question before you answer?
I suppose,
The truth of the matter is, the three entities you posited would be the best options for it. Yeah, to raise it.
Yeah, but one of them's just a dick.
Now the issue is you have to get it
Too busy
once.
to do it.
You have to. It has to let you do that.
And in order to do that, we must find a pathway to it.
You're gonna have to convince the dreamer and Fear about that, considering the fact
Oh,
they
Fear's
had-
not mentally aware enough.
And you have to deal with the dream.
I'll deal with my daughterish thingy. Okay.
It's all wrapped up in the same issues. I don't imagine it'll take it.
Could we not have the Nexus cut her off from power?
Nope. An option. As previously discussed, she forcefully creates connections. You can't cut that off. She just recreates it or grabs it.
Not if she does not have the power anymore.
Didn't we get past this point already? Didn't we decide to leave this to him?
Yes, we did.
Steve.
Simply a thought.
So then, to convince it to let the three entities raise it, do we have any ideas on how we might do that?
I'm still not in agreement that those entities should be chosen.
And yet, it is simply the truth that those would be the best. I'm not saying that I
And
agree
you
with
trust
you.
the truth.
Yes.
That's a fair point.
I don't even know if this is true.
That's also a fair point.
Look at me.
You summoned him!
He's one useful dude, man.
Truth is very good, but it is not clear, and it is very rarely understandable.
Yeah, there's life.
So taking something like that as an objective truth is a bad idea.
Also, 2 out of the 3 of them are very busy all the time.
Yes, Death is currently experiencing
That's the whole
extreme
point of the
problems.
dad, right? The dad goes out to work and the mom stays there. So Magic stays there. Order and Death pop in every once in a
Magic
while.
has 50% of all universes to deal with.
She just said no one tries to contact her. Don't take that personally. I
Also,
think you're
most
good.
of
No, I
us
don't
are involved in all
recall.
universes.
I just forget.
There might be too many you don't even remember. I don't care what you want.
No, student.
Hey,
Yes,
hey, quick
student.
question. Do you know how many times if you do that it would take before the chair falls apart?
Yes.
How many? And can you
No. So, that part about the 50% thing, Magic doesn't have to control any of that.
I didn't
That's
say
simply what happens.
It's only those of us who micromanage our own domains that find themselves
Magic
short
doesn't
on
need
time.
to deal with that. That's simply how it is.
Very efficient.
Also, who would be objected like, hey Magic, I need some help in the boom kit? Like, do you know how many mortals would just be like, yo, it's a baby, let's go! They'd forget why they were there for Magic anyway, but
Yes, it is.
Can I talk to you afterwards?
I thought you were objective to
Yes.
being his student. Now you're just mimicking him. I'm enjoying this, but like, are you objective to being his
Students
student?
tend to mimic their masters.
I hate what he stands for, but his personality is perfect.
What can I say? Yes, you can do this.
Even if we were to reach a settlement on who should raise child, this doesn't solve the first
To go now.
initial
You didn't roll high
problem.
enough.
It
What?
already recognizes
What does he mean by
this
Oh, that's
child already
that's-
recognizes two.
That is one of the things I said earlier where
You'll
there's
be ending
information
the
I'm
game.
forbidden from sharing. Anyway,
This child already recognizes a mother and a father. There's no guarantee that we can institute ourselves to replace those figures.
Maybe we don't have to replace them, just supplement them.
Well, if that was the case, going off of a model, we could only put forth one.
I assumed we were moving forward on the idea that we had to take action in this instance.
Even if that's the case, what will we do?
For
It would
starters,
be up to
I
whoever we chose, wouldn't it?
For
Well,
starters, I would agree with the garden on this one. It should be in a neutral domain that none of us directly control or
With
have
the
any
Nexus.
personal presence to.
Unfortunately, it's not because he.
assuming that it can be extricated from the Nexus.
Assume it's
So-
ideal.
I think it should be a domain that the three people chosen create together.
Again, assuming it can be
Yes,
moved.
assuming it can be.
Dang it, I really wish Truth was here. I just thought of a good question.
Well.
I was wondering if it would be possible to forcefully create an empty mind in the Nexus.
That sounds like an impersonal project.
So,
Don't
well,
bring it
no,
up.
it's-
Shove it in one of the
You
empty
know how the
rooms.
Nexus works. It's always with doors. If you can create a
I
door,
think that's a bad
you
idea.
created the door. There's nothing behind it. If that consciousness wouldn't happen,
That's nice. Anyway,
give it a
Nathan. So, do we have to take action? I guess is the first point.
Immediate action.
Do we have to do anything?
I believe so.
Yes. Well,
Personally,
next breaking was bad for all of us.
oh yes.
Um,
Personally speaking,
but is
from-
this child part of it?
It seems to be.
Then we must do
You
this.
said no.
personally
And we must
speaking,
do it now.
personally speaking, I have a lot of experience with experiments and things happening in the style of manner, not necessarily in the scale. I've always found it prudent and useful to watch for a brief period of time to gain information before you act.
I don't believe we have the luxury of waiting much longer.
Might take me.
If I'm not mistaken, Vortex said it was stable currently.
But
Anyway,
it won't be in the suit.
is anyone
It's
opposed
assumed.
to magic being there? It seems as
Oh,
though.
No, absolutely
no,
not.
no.
It's pretty common.
All right, so there's one.
job.
Have we agreed on 3?
No.
No. We haven't even agreed.
Both
are
on
very
three?
busy.
3 or a different number? All who are in favor of 3, raise your hand. There, we agreed on 3.
May I make a recommendation? If it is to be 3, the dreamer be kept in contact. As truth stated, fear is not currently conscious enough
We're
to
not going to
maintain
cut
a
off
rule.
anyone from the person. This is just our stakes in it.
Thank you. I'm not in China.
Your job is to cut off the dreamer.
That's better.
He is going to deal with the dreamer in whatever way he sees.
How are you going to do it?
It is not up to you to decide. You've decided.
Questioning. Do you need to know?
He likes to
I
know.
would
things.
like
He's nosy.
Then you
okay?
don't need to know.
Yeah,
So then
we don't need to know.
So
We
who's the
can-
next 2?
That's
I do
another
agree
thing I
that
never thought.
order should be involved.
I
I
don't
think Magic should put forth a suggestion since she has already been decided upon.
Are we certain that it's a bad idea for Karma to do it?
I think
They're
they're
new.
advised, but not exactly.
They don't know what they are.
Wrong
think-
decision.
I
Like a
think
baby
my-
trying to lead a baby.
I think
We're-
my state
Child.
stands in a pretty similar boat with Magic's.
If I would
Magic's been around a
interject,
You seem to have a pretty healthy viewpoint on a lot of things.
If-
You'd be pretty reasonable. I think you and I could balance each other out nicely.
anyway,
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I mean, you're not very experienced. This could be a good way of getting you experience in what you should be doing.
A dangerous way to earn experience, but not.
Very, I think very risky.
high risk, high reward. If
I
I
can't afford.
So I would personally put
too many
forth
risks.
you as my
Chances.
suggestion.
I would rescind both mine and Magic's candidacy for this because I think both of us are. I think Magic is inherently too, well, for lack of a better term, too magical. It is very hard to explain what Magic's nature is,
you
as
need to get a bigger
Magic
vocabulary.
has, definitive nature,
Be a
at least as I understand it.
Well, the vote was that we all agreed magic would be good for the decision.
Which I will respect.
We didn't make that off of Magic's concept, but as Magic as a manifestation. I was doing my best to leave concepts out of this and focus more on personality traits of what you are, which are connected to your concept. But
If we're talking strictly ego, then I suppose Magic could work and the Gardener as well. Though
We would need a third party to balance out the gardener's strong stance.
yeah, also you have to have the kid have a little fun, so let's not put the garden.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Magic.
Yes.
Magic, I think-
would
The
balance
magic
the
of
gardener.
childhood can't be dismissed.
Okay, Magic has been said way too many times in the last 30 seconds. Can we just go
Trying
a
to
minute
leave me-
without saying that?
Regardless,
What if it's magic with a K at the end?
Magic.
Magic with a Q.
Magica.
magic with a W.
Magic.
You guys are giving me a bottom until the peanut.
If
the
it's
only letter.
simply a matter of ego, then I would again prefer the idea that it not strictly be limited to entities. I think there are many suitable
Do
mortal.
you have another candidate in mind who we can contact?
Well, you mentioned
the
a
key
candidate
phrase
that
there
would be
is that we
respected.
can contact.
Please, for the sake of my personal entertainment, say Jason.
No, Jason is far from.
Please, no. Thank
I
you.
wanted to
Thank
watch
you.
that
Points of
argument.
reason.
I don't know if Immortal would be able to survive just in case anything goes wrong.
What if we
There's-
try to contact Freedom?
It's already been
I
unsuccessful so far.
In him contacting her.
as I understand it, there is a balance in childhood, both understanding
Oh,
one's own
boy.
freedom and autonomy, but also understanding that there is a subset of rules or guidelines or recommendations that are advisable to follow. in order to-
Why I
quick-
believe
quick
me or
question.
you should be involved in
The gardener does a good job of that.
Hey, Chaos. Quick question: how long has Freedom been missing again?
We haven't been back for very long, but I have not been able to find her.
So
Since
that's after
before-
the shattering, or-
since
Can
before
I
the
try
chat.
to find Freedom?
boy.
Can I try to speak to Freedom? Can I try to speak to Freedom?
I really hope that
You would like to try and speak to Freedom, Chance?
Yeah, I would.
Can you please roll spirit?
I would love to roll spirit.
Don't you have like a negative one to that?
Please blow.
+1.
Oh,
Can I spend tokens?
You have none, pal.
that's a 5. I would like you to roll grit.
Ooh. Oh, disapparate, disenchant.
I disagree with these dice.
What did you get? What's your grit?
Well, come on. So it's a
7.
Oh, it's 7.
That's
Alright.
so depressing. That's so depressing.
I am getting new dice.
There's two of them over here.
Staged
You want death
by the
dice?
skin of your teeth,
I would love
pal.
death dice.
You cannot roll. What?
Well,
Try as you might. Freedom is not there.
I
Freedom is not listening.
Freedom has apparently the
Something
same
else
problem
is
as the
changing.
others. If we could
it
contact Freedom,
is. Freedom is not listening.
But
Something else
luckily-
is.
It is possible.
Luckily, you did not bring it with you.
Could he? Oh, could I intentionally bring it with me?
No,
Don't do that. Do it.
Chance wouldn't do that.
Do it.
No, I know. Curious.
Jason would.
No, he would not.
Yeah.
He'd find out what it was first. Then
Anyway.
consider.
Vibrant.
If I may lay out another possibility as to this being, it is entirely possible the dreamer stumbled upon Freedom's door and did something there. I wouldn't know what.
But that's not out of the question.
It's not.
Isn't it?
Because I
Dream
don't
wasn't
know if
missing
she
before the
would know
fracturing.
what exactly it was.
Lots.
if so, I recommend highly that you fix that. problem.
Yeah, it'd be up
Yes,
there.
those before the fracturing.
Still things hard, but
As
Oh,
was
wait, no.
Noah.
Careful what you order.
huh?
Careful the way you order situations.
I have a lot of things going on, man. Some in this reality, some not.
Are there any third parties?
I would say the Crimson King, but he did.
I don't know of
He
any.
shouldn't be.
He's gone. More or less.
For now.
Any smaller ones that we don't normally think of? Any of the various emotions?
Out of curiosity, do any of us here remember how we formed?
I do.
Our first edition of ourselves.
What do you mean first edition?
Yes.
Our first version of
I am still.
consciousness. The first embodiment of our concept.
Yes.
How that was first created.
Well, that's where I can explain it. I'm the Big Bang.
It all started with the big.
I was created,
Is there a
and then reality formed around me.
Yes. Because the knowledge on
He
how
would've been
we,
next.
the knowledge on
If
how
the Big Bang happens, chaos has to follow very
Yes.
soon by
It
order.
was- Technically, the first one was the Void, then me.
Void is non.
Technically,
Technically,
creation.
the garden have come first before all that?
Creation created
Garden
both
was
me and
outside
Chaos
of
at about
that.
the same time.
And I assume I was
Is there a
near.
point to any of
into all
this?
this.
Most entities came around at the same
because
time.
as far as we know, no one spoke up to answer that question except for infinity.
I do also now, but
You have already
You're
explained.
forbidden from sin.
I'm not forbidden. I just
Choose not to.
yes.
Just like you choose not to say loud.
No, there are some things I am expressly forbidden from saying. But the people that do remember their beginnings, which I do, but I was made a very different way than some
You're young.
most forces. It is possible that this to be a new concept someone.
Does that change anything?
It
Well, if
if it is a new concept, It already has its innate nature.
But it would we would still need to keep an eye on it.
Yes.
Yes,
it'd be
but not
very
directly watch it.
dangerous.
We could leave it in the Nexus for the time being.
We could, but that's a dangerous place right now.
According to Vortex's opinion, but he does not quite have foresight.
I'd like to make a roll if I can.
Yeah.
I'd like to, if the garden is as you say, would it have a vague representation of them, and would I have a new plant in the garden connected to whatever's
You
growing in the
roll
Nexus?
What's the advantage?
It's all right.
Is it +1 or +2?
It's a number.
Nope, that's my dice. So I need those in a second. I have 2 new pockets on this thing.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not bad. 9.
Possible.
So, quick question: how do plants in the garden work? Do they all look unique depending on a person?
That they all look unique to me. They do.
I would like
Yours is a weed that I can't quite kill.
all of you to roll cognition,
Okay.
including you. First,
So happy we have the.
Oh, it's alright.
Watch this.
That is an 11. Whatever
Hey,
your
chaos.
number was.
It was right there.
Yeah, but that's not
12.
Oh, the
These two,
What's your plus?
12.
Plus 1, 12.
they ended up over there
It's
somehow.
also one.
That's not
It's
spicy.
gonna be the one roll after.
Okay, awesome.
Oh, yes.
Oh, nope.
Only if I read it first.
11
Yep.
plus 3, so
Yeah.
no, wait, that's wrong. That would be 14.
What am I wrong?
0 cognition.
Of course you have mics on each.
6.
I didn't get me bringing anything.
Okay.
Stop failing.
Like him.
I'm enjoying it.
I have a -1.
That's a 9.
Order.
That's fine.
Order of chaos failing. What joy.
What did you get? That's really.
It's a plus.
Failure.
Ah,
To be honest,
Don't
there's
get
a
the game.
reason I don't like rolling dice right. I would have.
That is a 7.
I got
Oh,
Those are cool dice.
3. They are. Bought them at Changing Hands. Come on.
the tower doesn't like them.
I'll change your hand.
They really don't.
Roll it again.
They
Joe.
didn't like mine dice either. Got
Don't break
stuck
it.
in there and to re-roll.
9. Again. Dig it out of
So
there.
3 people failed.
3 out of the.
I got a 14.
Hey, 14, buddy.
Half success.
Half success.
Half success. 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 Those of you that have success, you feel something. Those of you that succeeded, something is listening. And those of you that failed, I would like to roll grit.
No.
Sit down.
Oh no.
Yeet.
I'd actually fail this.
Oh.
Okay. 8.
No, I'm sorry, 9.
You're lucky.
9.
5.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
What's it?
-7.
Yeah.
What'd you get?
7.
7.
Yeah.
Scraping by.
5.
You have brought something with you.
Brought something. Where did he go?
You didn't go anywhere.
Does the thing feel?
You don't feel it.
Oh,
But
okay.
you have brought something with you.
He's got freedom in his
Quick
pocket.
question:
He
Can
forgot it was there.
Is it?
can I, as a telepath, perceive an extra conscious?
Roll spirit. Can I, as infinity, do so?
That's Patrick. It's
It's
like
5.
on its edge.
It's a 5. Yeah, that's a
Are we gonna
5.
call that a 5?
It's a 5.
Yes.
Okay.
So what'd you get?
Actually, for
What'd you say?
Spirit.
Spirit. So that would be 11.
actually, it was a
You did
1. I
not
saw
succeed.
1.
You did not succeed. You can. Yes.
So I'm aware of something.
Listening.
Can I try to be aware?
Well,
You did not.
You
You did not
partially succeeded.
Okay.
He's
You
the
only
only other
Karma
one.
could.
something.
Does Karma want to?
But
that?
with that being the case, please.
What was that?
What was what?
Something unbidden.
This
Is
conversation
listening
is
in.
no longer private.
Can I attempt to sense it?
Is it after?
Yes. Roll spirit.
Don't tell me the board isn't listening.
The board is always listening. They more or less.
7.
Oh, thank goodness! You finally succeeded. To
They know
roll.
everything at a
You
given
can
moment.
May I also?
Is he aware
You-
it's him?
That was specifically to see if you could try, like, because it was mentioned to sense it. Those that failed previously did not sense it. No, definitely.
Oh, okay.
What?
How much longer is this going to go? I need to get back.
To the garden?
We need to come to a conclusion on who's going to be taking.
Well,
care of
first we
watching
should
things.
talk about whatever's listening in.
I assume it's the board.
Or
It is the
possibly
board
the
doesn't need to invade. They
But the
already
dreamer
have
doesn't.
authority to listen to
They're
everything.
strong.
They already
I'm
can
assuming they're using mind
They don't
powers
need
as
to-
possible.
force their way in. They already are.
out what it is.
Maybe they've been there the whole time.
Could be them.
Wouldn't surprise me. They'll
I
always
certainly
be.
have.
Does it matter?
I think
We were
before
just having a discussion about an unknown being in the
Just show
next-
yourself.
and now all of us are aware, finally,
Yes.
of something else listening in.
I think before we
No,
come to
Now
any
things listen.
definitive conclusion as to who we're sending in for this thing, we still need to come up with a game plan on how we are going to deal, and if we are going to deal with its already understood mother and father.
We've decided that that's going to be his job.
He's going to deal with the dreamer, we know that
Can
much. But
I-
what about
can
its
I-
father? Fear.
Can
What does
I
that
roll
mean?
for charm to try and get this thing to talk?
I just said, show yourself, and
Yes.
Okay.
he's
Please go first.
dressing. So.
I would also like to.
Generic.
Yummy.
Boy.
Can I try to?
Oh,
force their hand?
wait. If I'm not mistaken, that is a 12.
Right, stinky.
Which would make that an 11 of mine.
That should.
Both of them do.
I think I could be charismatic.
Yeah, but your character's not.
Could you please turn the light off?
Oh, great.
Oh, damn.
Oh, is this the new darkness?
No, that's Walter.
Peace out.
The cameras can't see shit.
That's on purpose.
Is it?
I can see everything.
Everything to see you.
It's a shame.
Not for everything.
Welcome to the party. Care to take a seat?
Not yet. You're not sit down yet.
Oh,
That's weird.
hey, that's the mask Jason had in the intro.
Welcome to the party. Care to pitch in?
Who are you?
What is this? Can I feel it?
Yeah, great. You guys you just said hi. Now you're like, wow.
Who are you?
I'm trying to see. Finally, you just let me in.
You were piggybacking on my thoughts.
You exhausted one. For what?
Hmm?
You at least opened the door.
Consciously.
Right, so what are you?
Let me guess.
You're my replacement because I need to get back to work.
Let me take a gander.
Let him answer.
The author.
Ah, like he would show up.
Always were so smart.
Ah.
Who? The author.
Author.
I was
Oh,
told
wait, no,
about
I
it
know
by
him.
fate.
Sorry, I tried it.
What are you? Oh, don't let me interrupt.
Who are you?
Please
Too
keep
late.
going.
No, who are you?
I'm the author.
It would be easier to proceed if we knew why you were here and under what intent.
I'm here to be a part of the Cosmic Council.
Just for shits and
Are you-
giggles,
you're not
or is there a specific reason?
Are you a force?
No,
He's the
Then why are
author.
you here?
It's not a concept.
I'm the
What
author.
exactly are you? Are you? You're not on
Author
the
of
board.
what? What do you think an author's an author of a story? A story, any
But
story.
what? Author of what? Okay. Everyone's an author of their own story.
Not like me.
Okay.
Go on. Please elaborate.
We're not getting to meet you in person.
What is your place? Where are you're
Right.
not a part of the board, but you're not one of us.
I refuse to play this game any longer. Contact me when you're back to a serious council.
No, please. Continue.
Hey, there's a cable there.
Oh, how rude.
I'm not going to indulge.
Getting serious.
Don't indulge then. Please continue.
No.
Doesn't matter the other way. If you have any connection for the opera,
Okay,
I assume
well-
you do.
If you're
Talk
here,
about it, but
if you're here to engage and be a part of the Cosmic Council, then there are a few questions that, obviously, I think all
They're
of
not
us
a force. They're not an entity. They
are
don't belong
wanting
here.
to ask. Do you know anything about what we've been discussing? What do you know about this emerging consciousness within the Nexus?
I know that you won't be the ones to fix this.
hive mind?
Do you know who will?
Not yet. But I will.
How can you be sure that we won't be?
We're forbidden to, for starters.
For one, yes. For two, your role in this part of the story.
What is our role?
To be the forces.
Out of
That's
curiosity,
it.
if beginning of this meeting there were new rules brought forward for us to obey, you mind giving us a little bit more detail on those, if you can?
I didn't write the rule.
Do you know who did?
The board.
But you are very
what
well aware
connection
of
do you have to the board?
doubt to answer that.
I am something akin to the board.
Are you
Okay.
an experiment?
No.
So are you on, shall we say, the same level as the board in terms of cosmic awareness? And I suppose you are higher than us.
Do you know the voice?
Yes.
Are
I
you
hate it.
siblings? Cousins?
It said it hates it.
Doesn't mean they're not related. You can hate your brother or cousin.
Anyway.
Trust me, I do.
I think you should go on with your little plan. of
Hey,
having
Chaos!
Some of you
Bad idea.
raise this.
Well, if it's your suggestion and opinion that it is neither our place nor are we suited, then I think that adds a different light to the conversation
I-
entirely.
I said you won't be the ones to fix this. I didn't say you couldn't do this.
You also said it wasn't our place.
Hey, Chaos, we're doing things again.
It wasn't your
We're being an
role.
actual council.
I think he's meaning.
Whether we're learning important
What
things.
my brother means is that he will not join this council until the author leaves.
I think that's smart.
I see.
In actuality, are you more of an author or editor?
But
What are you? Published, well done.
Editing
your own work.
Infinity.
Right now, the author isn't the problem that we're faced with.
Currently, yes.
No.
Says
Well, we
who?
are
He's-
taking a little
The
bit
author
of
has presented us with no immediate problems that are in need
They
of.
got in here.
So what?
There are
No
very
one
few
else
beings
asked.
capable of breaking the door to a
Truth
mind.
was
And it
invited.
did not break the door, you let it in.
Not the same thing as truth being invited. You were not invited. You hitchhiked.
Regardless, even if they did hack their way in here somehow, I doubt that would have.
Dangerous.
We don't know that they're
Fine.
dangerous. We don't know
I
they're.
said that's dangerous.
No, it is not inherently dangerous.
They can get in here. They're dangerous.
If I may speak,
You're dangerous. Everything in here is dangerous.
if I may speak from personal experience,
No, speak for yourself.
anything capable of getting through the door to a force's mind is to be held as a threat. I once managed that feat, and I never want to go through that again.
Mm-hmm. Is that true?
Unfortunately.
Fine, there may be some truth to what you all are saying, but regardless, is there anything that we immediately can do about
I don't know.
their patronage?
No.
I'm currently trying to extricate him. It
I don't
seems
know,
to not be
Infinity.
working.
Why don't you roll?
Okay. What do you mean by roll? What do
Yeah.
you mean by roll?
You know, I do it.
like to roll.
I really want to roll like
I would
really,
like to
really
roll.
high. No.
Unfortunate. Go ahead.
I would love.
What do they roll?
I have no.
your mother.
Oh, that's cocked. That's very cocked.
All right, so this one's a 4.
Roll again.
I'm gonna leave it there.
Just roll it.
Both. All right.
That's what I can roll.
It's gotta be.
Oh,
It's gotta
oh.
be in the
It
box.
was
Gotta
spirit,
be
right?
in the box.
13.
In the box.
Beat the whole purpose of the box.
Oh, it's the same one.
That was
Well,
It was meant to be
Do you not have plus?
13.
Oh, yeah.
would anyone else like me to leave? Please raise your hand.
Is you staying against this council quicker? I can go back to
Anyone
my work.
trying to make me leave? Please
I
raise
tried
your
very cursorily, but to no
hand.
avail.
You want me to leave?
What do you think?
Anyone who's trying to make me leave, roll.
I want to see where this goes.
No one else?
I already rolled. There's information that he has that we
No
don't.
one else.
No.
Assuming
Fine.
it's truthful.
It is still information
Unfortunately,
otherwise
you roll
believe
high
it
enough.
isn't truthful.
I have heard the name Hopper once before and it was not.
I have no idea what you're talking
Fate personally told me.
Fate does not take the time to tell
Oh.
people personally anything.
Did he?
Yes.
What did you tell me?
Okay,
After being personally told by the director.
so
Oh.
I
you
have,
gonna
I have
enlighten
an
us?
honest question for those that actually care. Why do we care so much at this exact moment? Yes, it is troublesome that he made his way in here. Yes, that is bad. But if he is more powerful than us, which he is, we can't do anything to stop him.
It doesn't matter if he's more powerful than us.
Mortals
He's
fight
not
things
in a
more powerful
force.
than them all the time.
If he's not a force or entity we can't affect, which he has stated he is neither.
Yes, so we can't stop him. Let's go back to business.
Mortals fight things they can't stop all the
Go for it.
time. I'm trying.
Is it working?
No.
What
No one else
Okay.
is helping me.
What did Fate tell you?
About him.
Magic.
Mentioned an author. That mentioned something was called the author. That was outside the board's control.
All right, great. Then we don't have anything else to
Create.
go off of. Let's continue.
Yeah. Magic, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, it's not a problem we can currently do anything about. We already have a bad habit of going in circles. So
Well, you could try.
we
you
should
want
get
to.
back to what we were currently discussing. I don't like to be the serious voice in the room.
So tell me, who will? Or is that not something that is able to be told?
He doesn't
Hasn't
know
been
yet.
written yet.
Very well. It is just stated that we won't.
You won't be the ones to fix it. That doesn't mean your plan won't do anything. Will it?
What is it that we're talking? What do you mean by
And how do you know
fixing?
who will fix it?
What do you mean by fixing, and what do you mean by it?
It as in no one. Fix as in fix.
Prevent causing more. Prevent it
Repair.
causing more of an issue.
But that implies that they're inherently broken to begin with.
Correct.
Are they
they
already?
are breaking the
That
nexus.
doesn't mean we can't.
But we're not fixing the Nexus. We're fixing no one.
But dealing with this, in theory, fixes the nexus.
I suppose a very loose one.
If it is not just fixing the nexus, but fixing no one itself, it may not be that we fix it directly, but it does not mean we cannot help the situation. To make it easier on what I'm assuming will be the mortals that will fix this situation.
If I may interject,
No.
you are all very aware of what happened the last time the end came, and to the extent of my knowledge,
why don't
the
you
board
remind us?
remained silent. The board took their time to warn us about that.
Is it a warning or an
It wasn't
informing?
in a good connotation, the way I took it.
Were you
Well, you don't
told
take
to
anything.
tell us of this?
Fate told me about the author.
He didn't tell you to tell us. Therefore, he
Why
would
would I
not
not?
be important.
You
For
want me to
us.
leave
The Cosmic Council.
If so, please
Inform each
roll.
other.
It would make the proceedings significantly
Do you?
easier. What is
I
that am I
do my
rolling?
best.
Just rolling.
Roll.
Okay.
I have not hidden a single thing.
Not intentionally.
That is a 6.
Alright. You wish me to leave?
I have no desire for you to remain nor to leave.
You need to take a side.
I want the council to disband for now because I need to get back to doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
I think we should at least finish the vote.
Which vote?
Vote on what to, to the other parents?
Fate and you. No, not Fate. Magic, you.
If we are to do that, I feel
We haven't
obligated-
taken a vote on you yet.
I think it'd be rather disingenuous to take a vote currently with death, darkness, and chaos all gone. They chose to leave death and darkness because their forces
Obligation.
demanded it. Chaos because apparently the proceedings weren't serious enough for something like.
demands it. We are the only ones left to be able to vote here.
Because things need to be done.
Things need to be done.
I vote for the gardener to be one of them. One of the three. Who else?
I think
I will
personally
second
Reggie needs to
this.
go.
I still think we're getting too far ahead of ourselves. Even if we were to take a vote now, this isn't what we should be voting on. We need to be figuring out what we're doing about its perceived mother and father, the dreamer and fear.
That is his
We
problem.
already-
His
already
problem
voted on
is
that.
the dreamer.
You're right. What should we do about fear?
What can we do?
As stated by truth, it's not conscious enough to do anything.
Who
At
who
the
does fear fall under?
Fear
is a force or an entity.
At
If
currently,
he does not fall under me, he falls under chaos.
And nor there
I
is not
summon
really any
chaos?
sole representative
No.
That's it.
Uh,
Ryan.
as
Not
there is
chaos.
for the
Ryan, can I summon you?
You just get
No. He wants to.
Not coming through.
before you leave, author,
Pretty please.
author,
Thank you.
author,
It's been a pleasure.
A pleasure.
before you leave, may I ask a question about
I'm cordial.
What about?
I
What
think
do you
it's
think?
been a pleasure, man. I think it's been a pleasure, man. That's nice.
It's been a pleasure, man.
You put on his pants first. Okay, that's good.
What?
Do you possess the knowledge you are willing to tell us as to karma's obligation?
Bless you. Amen.
All of us have our innate domain. We affect the garden, probability, infinity itself.
Consequences shows the good, the bad things. Karma shows the good.
Thank you.
So if you don't mind
It
saying,
seems like a ledger for consequences.
what if currently we simply send someone to gather more information? Because if we don't want to cast a vote now, then we need to do something.
I think that
It's
would
an urgent matter.
I think that would be the wisest thing to do. It.
That's what
Would
I
you
advised,
tell us
though.
an hour ago?
You
Would you
seem
tell
to have a level head about
Okay, I'll
this.
tell you.
So I personally
It's your
believe
level,
that
and
you
you're making
precision
decisions.
fashion.
Really?
It's important enough that
Maybe
there's
I would do it if nobody else had any other
Oh,
objections, nor was a better
probably.
candidate.
Assist if you'd like.
Oh boy.
I think
Oh, he's
Again.
back.
Oh, yay, welcome back.
You want to break?
I think yes. I think having two people observe this situation would be wise
You know, I
for the very base concept of there being
Sorry.
more than one perspective.
It's not my fault.
Doing
My
it.
body was mental suffer.
Why don't we all go?
That would
That's
be
a
bad.
terrible idea.
I'm very busy.
We don't have to go there. We can look in.
Karma is
Yeah, we could just do it right now.
5 minutes of our time.
I think we can all do that, but I think there should still be at least two people observing it
Yeah.
more consistently.
But it would help us get more of an information of what we're dealing with if we all poked our heads in.
As I currently have a highly vested interest in keeping the Nexus stable,
I think who doesn't?
I seem to be a bit more adamant about it than most.
It doesn't seem to affect me as much.
Then I will take a personal interest in watching it. At the very least.
I am already there to deal with my creation, the Dreamer, and it is innately connected to this being. I am by default obligated to.
You should have more than you.
Can we have magic as well, as we all deem magic would be worthy
Yes.
enough to watch it?
I would gladly let her go.
Entities who have the time should watch it more consistently than others who don't.
Magic, Order, and
Myself.
the Exalted One,
As well as Karma?
as well as Karma, I suppose. Yes, that's an acceptable group for my taste.
On that note, I have a young friend called me.
Oh, shoot, it's a narrator.
Bro, I'm a big fan! Hey, your article.
Take you long enough.
Would you all like to look in?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If I may advise, before we all look
Into
into
the
once,
Nexus, by the way.
Gonna
That
ignore
is the question.
Yeah.
Not
just yet.
if I may
Yeah.
advise, I would say it's better to do that from different angles at different points in time. If we do that all at once in the same place, we're all likely to see different things and come to different conclusions, which will only result in a longer argument. Give us time to look at our own time,
We've already made this.
formulate notes, so we have a structure for the next meeting.
I think that's too convoluted to pursue with this bureaucratic council.
Let's just do it.
I'm not gonna look into it because cast is care.
I don't know.
Very well.
I won't look into it right now because I'm going to look into it slightly later.
Those who will look at it now, please raise your hand.
I will glance.
Everyone.
In order. Order and cast. Again, fitting.
They're
Everyone.
agreeing. What are we rolling?
Okay. 11.
It is important for me
8 plus 3.
I'm
Bro,
It is
that's okay, by the way.
important for me not to watch it.
Yeah, that is 8.
But please tell me spirits of 3.
10.
Spirits. Cards played.
Please tell me what you're
Hey guys!
Oh!
That's impressive.
Roll grip!
He did curse my dice.
I did.
What's the no alert?
Oh no, one got stuck. Oh,
You said spirit?
Yeah.
So 9.
Chance. Can you please roll grip?
Your -1?
Right? What is your
Give me
-1?
your dice.
These aren't good.
They're not cursed. That's a 8.
Damn it! You were the one who failed, didn't you?
I've been preying on his failure.
He
Those who
died.
managed to look in which are Karma, Gardener, Magic, Infinity, Exaltable. Chance. Everyone except Chance.
In order.
Well, but they chose not to look anyway. So.
He failed.
Not my usual place, okay?
What all of you see. First, as expected, you see this endless hallway filled with doors. But you see two halves. One half is the normal cyan color. The rest, the other half is pure black. These two forms, one made of pure cyan, one made of pure black, are talking to each other. Occasionally, they step across and converge and shift to the other side. And then these forms talk to something. You can't see what it is. You can't hear it. You know it is talking. For a moment, you see fear. He doesn't look how he normally does. He's made of this black cyan energy. Together.
I did not do that.
Not this time. The final thing you see is it looking back at you.
Oh, great.
It as in fear or
And then we are back.
What was sing?
Lion, Nexus, Black is Shadow.
oh boy,
Fear
fellas. So we
That's-
mentioned the antiverse earlier in this discussion. That's fragments of past realities. We had a reality break, but no fragments emerge.
Yes.
What color was everything when it broke?
Rainbow.
What absorbs all color?
Black.
Black.
Yes.
So it's currently the emerged brokenness that was just made.
That is one option. Or the remnants of minds. What happens to
Clearly
people who are
something that fear
I
did.
think it's a hive mind of the people that were fully taken.
Clearly something fear did with the Nexus.
I don't believe so.
And I
When
saw that as
Vortex
well.
was here, he stated fear
Did
and
something.
darkness had an interaction with each other.
No, I said fear. who had
Is this a
taken
problem
me.
for us, or is this
It
something we
will
should
be.
watch?
Cursory observations won't tell us much. This has to be a long-winded process.
So we leave it in the hands of the people we designated.
Yes.
Yes.
All right,
We still only
Meeting adjourned.
designated one person.
4.
4 people.
We haven't designated a parent.
Oh,
These are the
Yeah, this will
observers
do
that we've
I
designated.
had.
We watch until we can confirm
Zone
something
down.
about.
On that note, I have a young companion calling, and I'm listening.
Whom?
That I cannot say.
Yes,
Panther
will.
won't.
Yes.
Oh, and order, if I do find that you had anything to do with the continued missing situation with Freedom, you will know my wrath.
I swear I didn't.
And with that, the second meeting of the Cosmic Council is adjourned. Thank you for joining us.
Sleep well. Or else.
And always.